Hello, 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 and welcome to yet another Q&A Thursday right here at the Rag Company Podcast YouTube channel. I'm your host, Dane Hennon, here in the middle. To my right, Levi Gates, Master of Shine.
Thank you, Dane. I like how you stopped the oscillation of the fan right before we went live.
Yes,
Quite nice.
I wanted to help out because I'm the only one who gets overheated in this room.
Well, you're also the only one wearing long sleeves and pants today.
That's right.
It's still 80 degrees outside.
I am equipped for winter or fall. It just hasn't happened yet. And to my left, very tall on screen, Anthony Fisher.
Thank you, Dane. Happy to be here. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Yes.
Quick note, not wearing the gray sweatpants today.
Okay.
Right? So, I realized that I was actually talking to my wife about this.
Yep.
She agreed that we are in a very compromised view. The angle, the chairs, everything, the whole presentation. And she said,
I feel like we need a table.
No, she said, like,
a lot of people use a table for coverage.
She said the table makes the most sense. And I told her, I'm like, I know that, but what do we do in the meantime? So she said to be constantly aware of my hands. And
Anthony
and I talked about this. A couple things we could do: start sitting with our ankles crossed and our hands on our laps. That's one way we could do it. The other way is to maybe grab one of those pillows, keep them over our laps, so that we want to present an air of professionalism. To our listeners, and we're sorry for all the advantages that you get during the Q&A.
Some people consider them perks, others mild terror. The thing to note about that, I've gotten a lot of flack for how I set up this space, trying to make it a more comfortable, lower key, but also slightly nicer
So the
environment.
first idea where we had the cameras on us individually in different screens, I know people didn't like seeing
that
our
was what
separate
my
faces.
original vision was.
But I didn't mind it because it was a shot of our faces and not our crotches.
Correct. And this, unfortunately, was the compromise because people kept complaining about the individual cams. They wanted to see us all in one frame.
Yeah.
And this is the compromise.
It's because
this was not my vision.
They want to see us.
But this is the solution.
In all our glory.
In the meantime. So remember, guys, you brought this on yourselves.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you, Dane, for having us on the show. And ladies and gentlemen, it is Q&A Thursday, all Friday's Eve.
Yes.
And we got some stuff happening. Biggest thing to watch out for is this weekend at MVP Detail Supply. We are hosting a KCX Education Day.
That's right.
And we've got Jason Miller here in the house today. He actually is at lunch with other folks from the company. But he'll be bouncing into the second hour of Q&A Thursday. So he is the North American CSO for KCX. So, head of sales, basically.
Coach questions, bring them, especially for the second half.
And if you guys are wondering what kind of events or when are you guys doing stuff? When are you having things? What's going on? You can just go to theragcompany.com, get on the events page, and check out and see exactly what we've got coming up for you pretty much every weekend. And as you can see, like I said, this weekend we've got our KCX Education Day. Next Friday, we are doing a IDA certification event. So if you've been wanting to get certified in your local, come on down and see me on Friday. I'll be doing that. And then Saturday, October 19th, next Wednesday, is the 1-year anniversary party that we've got happening here at MVP. So we'll have raffles every hour, food, and much, much more. Come celebrate. This Saturday is a cost of, I believe, $30.
That's not bad.
It's covering food and snacks and all that kind of stuff. So
very reasonable.
You can come down, hang out, talk to Jason. We're gonna do a demonstration on soaps and products and how everything works, so people can kind of get to see the differences as to why, KCX has the number of different types of soap they have.
Yeah.
And then we've got tons of giveaways. Tons of freebies, tons of stuff that we've got for the class. And then that third weekend, I know Nick already pulled it down, but it's fine. We've got our Avery Dennison class, and there's still spots available. So if you want to sign up for that, you can go to the events page and do that. The other thing, biggest thing, we got a sale coming up.
We too.
It's our annual Halloween sale.
I noticed.
Don't talk about it, Dane.
Oh, did I draw attention? Oh, I didn't notice anything.
Nobody needs to see it, and nobody will see it. Yeah. So, I'm going to push my microphone to cover
your mic is strategically...
I wore the wrong shirt today, okay?
Yeah,
so,
I deliberately didn't wear it.
Oh, no, I went the wrong... Oh, there we go. Okay, so...
I don't think too many people will pick up on it from the front, though.
You got to be signed up for the newsletter.
Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that right, Anthony? It's the only way.
Them's the rules.
There's the rules. Go to theradcompany.com, go to the scroll at the bottom, sign up for the Rad Company newsletter, and you're going to be updated on all the sales and all the upcoming exciting things. Because I will say, though, that the sale is a mystery, right? And there will be boxes shipped out here of the Rad Company. And there's also going to be some big news around that same week of other exciting, spooky things, right?
Mysteries.
Other mysteries, right? So
you could say some of them are all incorporated.
Yes, some of them are all incorporated in some weird, strange way, right? So, anyways, we're up to a lot of fun things here, and besides that, we did shoot some more content yesterday. We did shoot a second kind of blind product testing, like brand testing video, and I think that we've come to a conclusion of the direction in which we will be going with these.
I like it.
So it's going to, for fans of the show Survivor, I think that you may like kind of some of our ideas that we're going to be dishing out with these. So that'll be upcoming, and we're going to shoot some more content. And here in the following week, I think we're going to have some really fun main channel videos that are going to come out as well. And then also shout out to the current video right now, how to wash clay and seal in under an hour with Sydney. It's absolutely killing it.
Nuts.
Google has blessed us.
Yeah, it's weird.
Something in like the search.
There's something in the water.
Something in the waters of Google, because we got a lot of traffic from them, or from Google itself, which is helping to really push the video out there and get a lot of eyes on it. So thank you to everybody that's watched that and contributed with a comment and all that. It's a really fun video. So outside of that, though, it's been a relatively, I don't want to say calm-ish week, right?
It hasn't been calm at all. It's been busy for me every day.
Oh, well,
I know they're very busy over there.
They're very busy over there.
The ERP system. So did we talk about that?
We did not talk about that. Last week we did have some calls. Beginning of this week, I should say.
We switched to a new ERP system. So if you have an order that's been delayed by a day or two, or maybe it's just not shipping out as fast as it normally would, it is because of the ERP launch here at the Rad Company. And this is just going to be a way better system for fulfillment and everything across the board.
Inventory control.
Inventory, e-commerce.
And
years in the making.
Well, and part of the fulfillment thing is Anthony and I went over, and they kind of gave us a little demo. It's some of the packers. They can't even they can physically pull an order, but they can't load the order to being shipped without a number of scans.
It'll
it has
reject
to get.
it, yeah.
And so we're hoping that that'll end a lot of folks' issues when they do get like, oh man, I got the wrong product. Like this gets rid of that issue.
It essentially makes it so you can't
continue to fulfill the order until you grab the right product. That's kind of what we're hoping. The problem is just something that we've been working on an ERP system for over 5 years.
Yeah.
And we finally got it ready to go, and then we launch it, and there's still a couple bugs that are getting worked out. So, distributors, I know you guys probably heard it from the team in sales saying, sorry, the ERP system has been down this week, so those have been delayed. So we're trying to get stuff out and fixed as quickly and as easily as possible. So stay tuned. The Joshes have been really good at keeping everybody informed as to what's happening with it, and they're just as frustrated as we know the distributors are. But this is a good thing for the future.
I was going to say, it's very important to note that while it may be frustrating in this instance, and it is getting worked on actively and has been super long hours, long days trying to get this stuff going, it has been, as you said, 5 years, super long time in the works.
Yeah.
And this is not something that will be a regular occurrence or anything like that. So don't.
Yeah, it's just the growing pains of a new system coming online.
Anybody who has gone through the process of implementing a new ERP system at their business, ask them. They will tell you it's usually an exciting time.
Well, and honestly, we wanted to make sure it was ready to go before, Halloween and Black Friday.
Yeah,
some of our biggest
we didn't want to be going through this.
So Yeah, so we wanted to get it out as quickly as we could, but at the right time. Yeah. We had originally they were like, "Hey, we're going to launch it at TRCMA." Remember that? They were like, April 1st, we're going to launch the new ERP. And we were like, wait, what? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, that could have been disastrous. So we said, no, wait. And they took the time, made sure they ran through it again and said, hey, we're ready to go in October. Okay.
So
cool.
It'll continue to improve, but once it's going, it'll be so much better for everybody.
Yeah.
Can definitely promise you that.
Yep.
So, if you're wondering, that's what that is. I did see a post in the Obsessed Garage group about some stuff, and I think that may have
I got a call from Andy Stilley the other day.
Yeah.
He had placed an order, and he's like, hey, man, I placed an order over the weekend, and it's Wednesday, and I still hadn't heard from you guys, or Tuesday. And I said, oh, ERP.
Yeah.
They had put a block.
And in fairness, most people
orders.
on the receiving end would have no idea that this stuff was going on.
Correct.
But now we've mentioned it, so now you're aware.
Yep.
Okay. Sure. Well, with that said, are we caught up? Or should I start throwing
let's
questions
get this
up
party
on the board?
started, Dane.
All right. Let's go ahead and see what Dan Pfeiffer has to say. Levi.
A good afternoon to word up from my garage on a beautiful sunny fall day in Minnesota, USA. Perfect day for some detailing. Happy Friday Eve, TRC gang. Let's go.
Let's.
6M Ghost with a ready. What's up, man? Welcome.
Frost 732 saying, just got a limited supply alert. Tell me the gauntlet isn't going away, please.
No. It's good. It's okay.
You're going to be all right. It's not going anywhere.
Alex says, I'm on holidays. Just checking in. We'll catch us later. Love you all. Thank you, Alex.
Oh,
Thank you,
Alex, enjoy your holiday.
Thank you for chiming in. Enjoy.
Yes, kind of you to drop in. Appreciate that.
And then we've got Tamara says, hello, everyone. I've been binge watching old Rag Company videos today. Pretty awesome. I have watched how distinguished Levi's beard has gotten over the years. I think it's his best feature.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Tamara. Appreciate that.
Nice.
Thank you.
And isn't it weird when you watch some of those videos and he just doesn't have any facial hair at all? Does that throw you for a loop?
Yeah. Or the very first video we did, and I had a beard.
Oh yeah, but it was a different.
It was a different color beard.
That was a different beard.
It was a very different beard.
Bruce's Garage saying hello, everyone.
Hello,
and
Bruce.
Then we've got David Boy says wintertime affects my detailing because I don't have a heated garage.
Oh.
I live in an apartment. It's on cold to work outside. Any temperature below 50 degrees Fahrenheit is not good for me.
Gotcha.
David, it totally makes sense. Mm-hmm. We get it.
There's some solutions out there for that.
There's some
mobile solutions.
But sometimes you got to make do with what you got. And I think that you're here, you're getting educated, you're getting entertained, and I think you're doing as much as you can. With winter coming up. So.
Got to do what you got to do. But yeah, 50 is kind of a cutoff for people. So
25.
Yeah.
Once the stuff starts freezing on the side of it, that's when you stop because you can't work anymore.
It's a problem. Yeah, if you go to pour out a bucket and it doesn't even make it out of the bucket before it just freezes midair. That's always exciting.
The thing I hated, spraying product on a door panel.
Oh.
And it icing up as soon as it hits the door panel.
Some products will do that. Some products are more resistant, but it just depends on the chemical.
Sticks to it, freezes.
Yeah, you're like, oh man. There were mornings that I'd be detailing and I'd be having to do that outside of my shop.
Well, you had that pup tent out front that you guys would do stuff with.
Yep.
A big old sprayer out there and everything.
Yeah, we'd put everything out there.
Yeah.
You build 5 new bays outside.
You didn't let winter stop you.
No, we didn't. We kept going. The days when it get too cold to be like, all right, guys, I literally can't work on this car today out here.
I'm pretty sure I saw some guys wearing 5 layers.
Oh, my guys always wore layers. Yeah.
That's just the move.
Yeah,
but
you keep working and you stay warm. It's easy.
So we're getting hellos from Bruce's. Then we've got Hippolito Campos. Greetings, everyone. I just use Absolute as a drying aid, 64-1. I think I got some streak issues. Any advice about using it as a drying aid, or better to use it as a quick detailer? 64-1 is pretty aggressive.
You could still use it at 256-1 as a drying aid.
At 256.
Yeah. Hippolito, you could still use it at 256-1. It's not going to hurt anything.
I mean, 128-1 would probably be your better quick detailer, probably in our opinion. But as a drying aid, 256-1, you're still gonna have better. You're gonna reduce the surface tension more with that than just water alone, obviously. And so, and
you're not gonna have the streaking issue.
Right. I think you're still gonna have a pretty good feel. So I'd probably just add a little bit more water and just run it again and see what happens.
Yeah, if streaking's your issue, 256, you should not be experiencing that.
Yep.
All right. Too Fresh Detail Studio. Levi.
What's up, TRC peeps? Hope everyone's having a great day. Thank you.
I hope you are too.
Thank you.
And then Joey, Anthony,
says, hello, my friends. Less than a month until I'm able to give you each a reacher-sized hug in person.
Nice.
Thank you, Joey.
Thank you, Joey.
Looking forward to it. Be gentle.
I'm excited to hug his belly button.
Oh, yeah. No, that's pretty much where any of us are.
Yeah.
And that's where Dane and I are going to be at.
Yeah.
Doing shots out of Joey Belinsky's belly button.
Pretty much.
Aaron.
I think I'm a little taller
Joey.
than Dane, but I'm just saying, like, we're going to be in that area.
Yeah.
Aaron Bauer says, JB, you can probably group hug all of them and touch your hands. You have a pterodactyl wings.
Yeah, he probably could.
Straight up pterodactyl.
He could hug all three of us and clasp his fingers together.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
How does he not play basketball?
He goes, I guess I'll have to try. Driven. What's going on, TRC crew?
Right back at you, Driven. And our friend Air First here.
There's the lads. Blessing from Ireland and my castle. So we knew
very
it.
nice.
We knew he was in his castle.
What are you enjoying tonight for dinner? What was on the menu?
Tail,
this guy's
prawns.
cuisine is next level every time.
I imagine like
you know what I ate for dinner last night?
What's that?
I don't remember. It was a piece of bread.
Why did he start?
It was a piece of bread with some chocolate in it. That's what it was. A little pain de chocolat.
Do you want to know what me and Dane did last night? Me and Dane came over to my house and we poured ourselves some like we call it poor man's wine.
Oh,
it was just vodka and grape juice.
It was poor man's wine.
That's so gross.
Because he invited me over saying I could have a beer with him, and I'm like, you know what?
I'll take a beer.
It has been a little bit of a rough week. I'm going to come over. I'm like, okay, introduce the single life again. This is a little different. And he's just like, you want to just come over, like watch a movie and have a beer. So I go over there. He's like, I don't have any beer.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, come on. And he's just like, but
I do have hard alcohol.
And then Katie's like, and there's Welch's grape juice right there. And I'm just looking, going, oh no, we're about to. And the vodka was called Trust Me.
Yeah.
Where does one acquire?
This came from my friend Keith. It came from Keith.
Oh yeah, Keith.
Right, Keith.
Yeah.
And so Keith gave this to me, and I was like, "Well, it's a really cool. It's like an artsy type of vodka.
Yeah, it's something they got.
It's like organic, handmade, or whatever it is. It's made here in Idaho, I believe.
In fairness, not bad.
We mixed that with ice and grape juice. Straight up delicious.
I was genuinely surprised.
I
thought it would be worse.
You're both like, this is amazing. So
you're gonna start going to the bars and going, hey, what can you get? Cranberry and vodka? No. Grape juice and vodka.
Are you sure
you got any of that Welch? Like, I need name brand
Welch's. Are you
Welch's.
sure you don't want just some wine? I'm like, no.
I want some Welch's grape juice.
I want something much harder.
They're over here
than
like,
wine.
well, we have Ocean Spray, and I'm like, that's not Welch's.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it was a pretty fun night. We watched a weird movie, but it was still fun. Yeah. Spencer Mason says the title speaks to me with the farming stuff I do in the winter.
By the way, I've been titling these Q&A episodes,
and we don't even know what Anthony and I don't know what they are.
So I know what the title is. It was basically, how does the changing of the seasons affect your detailing strategy? So in this case, it was opening yourself up to, well, you got fall and then you got winter around the corner. What are you doing differently now that you're presumably leaving summer wherever you are? If you're a place with seasons, if you're somewhere with the hurricanes, maybe you don't have seasons. Which, by the way, I hope our friends in Florida are doing all right now. Hopefully, so if you can weigh in, we'd appreciate it. But hopefully, fingers crossed for all you out there.
You're safe.
And then I've got Air First here saying, God bless all here. Thank you. And Anna Longfield, Levi.
Happy Q&A Thursday, everyone. Thanks, Anna.
Yes. Joey back again, man.
Shout out to Gray Sweatband Gang.
Yeah, some people just carry on the tradition. Neil White here.
Hello and greetings from Atlanta, TRC. Dane, I'm loving the brawny man look.
Thanks. I've been getting that a bit today.
Paper towels is what we need to do. Next up here we've got Joey says, I say you lean into it and just shove some towels in your pants for effect.
Oh no. Oh dear.
I wouldn't put that past me.
Oh no.
David Boy says, Levi or Dane, what other size voltage batteries can be used with the Ego Power Washer? I mean, like, does it have to be their 6.0?
David, I don't know enough about that Ego Power Washer.
Is he thinking going lower?
Well, you got to remember sometimes, like, what do you have of your Ego?
Ego, I think it's like a
6 amp.
I think it's like a 3 or 4.
Right. So that's basically what he's asking. Is, could I use a 3 or 4? I'm sure you could.
It would work, but it wouldn't last.
I almost guarantee it would. You just wouldn't have a lot of the power or the duration.
Yeah.
One or the other. Because it's like the generator when you took it home and you didn't have all 12 amp hour or whatever big batteries on it.
To its credit, it really underrated itself when it gave you a time of like how long it would be before it ran out. It went way further.
Yeah. So
kudos on that. They did a great job.
So I think you'd be okay doing something smaller than the 6 amp hour battery. I think you just probably sacrifice power, like pressure and length of charge.
The sensors, the computers, whatever. And I don't know necessarily if it cuts power in order to increase longevity or what it does, but it has a brain, so it would think about how to best give you the most impact for the time it can provide.
Yeah, it's like I've got a 2.5 amp hour skill battery that I can use in my mower, but it would prefer the 6 amp hour battery just because I'll use a quarter of a charge with the 6 amp hour battery to mow the front and back lawn. But with the 2.5 amp hour, I'll probably use 3/4 of the battery.
Yeah.
Right. It's just the way it's going to utilize the electricity a little better.
Makes sense. It's almost like when you slap a turbo on a small displacement engine to try and compete with a larger displacement engine. It's like you can do that, but the little engine's going to get hotter faster, and it's going to have to work harder. Stuff like that. Jeff C. I like the individual camps. Thank you, Jeff. That was my original vision. Not everybody
so it's
necessarily
not you
like that.
So Dane can check that off his list of people.
Not Jeff.
Not Jeff. Ira first says, my mother-in-law's chauffeur needs to remove a ceramic coat from her Rolls Royce. Any thoughts?
Okay, now you're just playing it up.
So to remove that, couple things. Realistically, the only way you can remove that is through polishing. So realistically... Thank you, Dane. Just go polish. Just polish the vehicle. It's really all you got to do. And you'll notice while you're polishing, you'll be able to see if the coating's coming off that rolls or not.
Yeah. And you're going to find a spot in your castle that just makes the most sense for lighting and whatnot to be able to do that and see the coating coming off as well.
There's a gentleman. That's a true gentleman to do that.
I don't know how many torches you would need to light. I mean, I guess in castle terms, right?
Yeah. I'd probably say 8 just to be safe.
Does anybody know
2 on either side, maybe 3 on either side, 1 in the front, 1 in the back, or just 2 all the way around?
What was the trick to making a torch last like through the night?
Oh, it's oil. It's filled with oil.
Yeah, it's not just what's on the surface.
It's whale oil.
It's whale oil that they're lighting and they're just letting it burn.
So the blubber was worth a lot.
You fill those up with whale oil, and then you wrap some fibers of source, something that's a long burning surface that can hold on to a flame, like a wick of sorts.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
but that's usually dipped in something like a paraffin wax or some sort of other item that allows it to burn but doesn't allow it to really like disintegrate.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways you can do that. So yeah.
Now, whose job? I mean, like I know they're in a castle scenario.
Who's lighting those things?
Yeah, who's lighting them? And then
usually a lamplighter. That's the name.
That
is
a
job.
Job that existed.
Yeah,
so go
a
around,
lamplighter. They usually walk around with a lit wick, and their job would be go around and light all the oil lamps.
Gotcha. So everything's lit because remember, no lights back then.
Yeah,
right?
they're all full of oil. Everything's full of oil.
Yeah.
So brewers are brewers, and millers are millers.
Yeah,
John Wick's family, somewhere far enough back, there was a guy lighting wicks.
Making wicks.
Making wicks.
Yeah, wick master.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
my family was gates. Usually a family that lived or guarded the gates of a keep or castle.
Possible builds and installs.
Can you guys guess what my family did?
Fishers. You would fish.
Yeah, we were big fishermen.
Yeah. Pretty sure we were chicken farmers.
What does Hennon stand for?
Hennon is
chicken farmers.
I think all of us actually would deserve a spot in the castle.
Correct.
We provide.
If Dane was providing the chickens, I'm providing the fish. Levi's
I'm providing the security.
You got protection, we got sustenance.
No.
Seems right.
I like where this is going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ira, we'd all be just great at helping.
In the comments, what would Belinsky do?
What are you?
I don't know. We'll have to figure out what that name is about.
Let us know.
What's Belinsky doing in a castle scenario?
Today we're going to learn.
Dan Pfeiffer, I like the singular frame.
Oh, Dan, so it's you. No, that's okay. I get it. It's not for everybody.
Chris Riley says lower the cam by like a foot and tilt it up. That's actually we'd have to go from the bottom now. They're hanging from the ceiling, so we'd actually have to create stands and
so
mount them on the walls.
You can't see it, but they actually hang from the ceiling.
Yeah.
And they're also like directly above our monitor we're looking at to see your questions. So, not to ruin the illusion, but if we had them lower, they'd be directly in our line of sight.
True.
Okay. We've also got Chauffeur from Air. Then I got Josh McKay here saying hello, everyone. I'm sure we'll get to detailing questions. They're out there somewhere, guys.
Because you have Jason's going to be joining us for the second half.
I know.
Today, so
you got to prep those Koshemi questions, those KCX questions. Dan
says, "Don't care for Anthony's crotch front and center." I get it, dude. But I hear G. Davis prefers it.
Dan, there's a G answer if I ever heard one.
Yeah. Anna Longfield says TRC towels are probably nicer than the old sock trick.
They are much
probably
softer.
itch less.
Yep.
Yeah. Hot though. Bruce
really
Garage
warm.
says, "How best to prepare for the SV testing?"
Bruce.
Real detailing question.
SV testing is, so the way I explain it is, if you've already passed the CD exam, the CD is kind of the hardest part of that because there isn't a lot of prep for the CD exam. Now, when we do a CD in a day event, we go through a PowerPoint. Most of the RITs will do a PowerPoint about some of the topics that are going to be discussed on the test. We ask questions. We kind of do that, and then we go into the CD test, which is similar to the PowerPoint that we create. But with SV testing, I test folks in the manner of pretend I'm a customer, and I'm just asking you questions on how you're going to detail my vehicle. That's it. So when I did Anthony's SV test, I'll ask a question like, I heard about a clay bar. I watched a video and I saw that someone used a clay bar. Can you tell me what a clay bar is? And he'll explain why we use a clay bar. And then I'll say maybe like, what's the difference between a clay bar, the traditional clay, and a clay towel or a clay mitt? And he'll describe the differences. And then I'll ask like, what's the difference between a chemical or a mechanical decontamination? Which one would I want, or which one do I need? And in that sense, he would then go, well, here's what a chemical decontamination is, where we're going to use a chemical to remove the contamination on the vehicle's paint. And we can do that with a chemical like a fallout remover or even a strong APC or even an acid. That's called a chemical decontamination. And then if I ask about a mechanical decontamination, then that's when he would answer, well, that's when we're going to use clay because we're mechanically using it with our hands and we're manually removing it. That's a mechanical because there's a mechanical process in removing those contamination. So those are the kind of questions we ask. A lot of the times it's very, very simple. It's just I try to always ask, I try to tell people and I try to tell other RTs coming into this that's the easiest way to set someone's mind at ease when they're doing a test like this, because many times a detailer has had those kind of same questions asked of themselves from customers. So if you can put it in their mind that you are their customer and you're just asking those questions, it's much easier for them to answer because they usually will get up in their head about oh my gosh, this is an exam and I need to know everything about detailing and I don't know how best to prepare. If you've been detailing for the last 3 years at a minimum, you're very well versed in how to answer this, especially if you've already taken the CD. The CD tests your knowledge. The skills validation tests that you have know how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
It takes you from being an intimidating instructor into being a opportunity. Oh, I've done this. I've had customers.
I just want to know
now
if you can do it.
I'm the educator, and I'm teaching you. And it really does help.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is there are RITs that'll make you do the test.
Sure.
Like they'll make you polish a hood because they want to see your technique. I can usually suss that out pretty quickly, and I don't usually make a lot of folks do stuff. I've watched testers make people scrub carpets and clean carpets and scrub door. Like I just need to know that you're going to use the right tools and the right processes when cleaning certain types of surfaces.
Sure.
Like I don't need to see you actually scrub carpet. Like I'm not testing you on how you scrub the seat. I'm testing you on what chemical and what product you're using for the right and appropriate surface.
Chances are, if you can articulate in a way that's competent, the rest will follow.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So, Bruce, the biggest thing is just try and think about some of those style of topics. We go over a bunch of stuff. We go over a wash, the wash process, the prepping process, and then we go over the interior process, the exterior process, and then the final finishing process. So those are really the 4 topics that we go through when doing an SV.
Okay.
So
cool.
Excellent. Then I got Jeff C. here, Anthony.
Says, when my wife and I met, I usually left my windows uncovered all night. She is the opposite. My motto is, if you see something once, I apologize. If you see it twice, you're welcome. I like that, Jeff. I do.
That's right.
I like
Great
that
attitude.
motto.
I like that. That's how I roll.
That's fun.
Neil White says, can't wait for the Halloween sale.
A lot of people can't. I think Ed Iverson is the leader of that fan club, though. It's got to be.
Driven Details says, what's the crew's favorite paint polish and why?
We're big fans of the Last Cut.
Very much so.
It's the most versatile. Second would probably be Rehab.
Love the Rehab.
By PNS.
Yeah, I think, gosh, I mean, we like, as far as polishes and compounds, I mean, Last Cut's always been pretty open about that. I think Koch has a very nice system, color-coded system.
Very nice.
I think Rupes has really simplified theirs, but also made theirs effective. And then
you're not going to have a bad time.
And Rehab's probably the best thing, compound polish-wise, I mean, that PNS has ever produced.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fantastic polish. It's hard to kind of pick a favorite. I think, we're kind of getting to that point of splitting hairs lately, but I would say find the system that sounds easiest or most functional for you.
Yeah.
And roll with it. But I do think
the Optimum lineup is beautiful.
People love the.
So if you're just
hybrids.
beginning, Optimum's lineup is super easy and simple. The sprayable ability of it with the Hyper Twins is easy to use. And then if you truly feel like you need to have a compound and a polish, the Hyper system is the way to go.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go with a two-part system, just working with Last Cut or Rehab, where it's just one product,
it's
and
pad
you can
dependent.
change the pad to suit your needs, or do a cut with one pad and a polish with a soft polishing pad and just that one product, you can do that. Or if you just want to polish and protect, Uno Advanced and Uno Protect are the two best ones to grab for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And not all paint's going to react the same way, so sometimes you got to change on the fly.
Yep.
So,
but yeah, that should help.
Next up, we have Randall Gerlander. Says, hi guys, just curious, what would be a good polish and pad to start out with just getting into polishing? Get confused with all the different polishes and pads.
I think we got you off on the right foot at least.
Got you off on the right foot. As far as like pads, pad colors and good starter pads, Rupa's yellow foam, always a killer one just to get started. I think that the Lake Country pads, almost every Lake Country that we sell,
any of the orange Lake Countries are great starters.
Now the edge guard pads,
and then the Buff and Shine, but same thing with Buff and Shine. I mean, you could go maroon, but the yellow pad from Buff and Shine is extremely versatile. So I'd probably say anything yellow and pad related on the right. Even fine cut pads are great from Coach Kemi. So
and they're yellow.
Yeah, yellow. Anything in the yellow.
You can do a lot with the yellows.
Yeah, and then with polishes, like we said, Rehab or Micro Cut from KCX, or even Last Cut.
Yeah. Agreed.
Bam. Joey.
I'm in last year's Halloween shirt today. It needs a new friend.
I think you'll find.
I think I was wearing last year's shirt yesterday.
Good new friend.
So.
Bruce says, hi JB, and then JB says, have you ever come up with a name for the testing series? Dude, we're really leaning towards that, like the Survivor theme, like, so we don't know if it's like Survivor, like, TRC product testing, or like something like that, but let's just say there's a segment in this upcoming video that like is very Survivor like, and kind of like that, right? Like you've ever seen like Tribal Council? Let's just say there's like a Detail Council at the end of this episode, and I really want to play into that theme because it's super fun, and we have some really fun ideas that I think we can do. And then who knows? Like the crazier we get with it, like let's just say people love it and it's really fun. Then maybe it's like we get some torches and some plants, and You know,
we already have the plants here. We just put torches in this room.
Torches, and then maybe we do the reveal. You know, the reveals and stuff like that at the end. But needless to say, this time,
these studio lights have a fire setting.
Oh yeah, so we could do that.
We just do that.
Yeah. This time around, though, you guys will find out what the products are at the end. You know, after everything.
So it's different than last time.
Yep, agree.
Now, Levi, I got Frank L here.
Frank, for Uno Advanced, do you recommend having separate pads just for the polish plus ceramic? Does it seal up the pads like towels that can get loaded up with paint stains? Yeah, absolutely. Totally. So that's one thing most people don't think about is you do need to, because it's a sealant, Uno Advanced or Uno Protect is a sealant, Uno Advanced is a ceramic. Both pads you need to clean right away. So if you have a pad washer, that's great. You really want to get, especially if you want to save them. I find myself, and this is just me because I've been doing it for so long, I sacrifice pads. So my pads are sacrificed to the old gods.
Okay.
And, that's how I get the magic that I can create out of my details.
Well, sacrifice sometimes have to happen, right? You know, in a castle scenario or survivor scenario.
Correct.
All sorts of different things.
Yeah.
And so
I sacrificed at my own castle, the Harmony Hut. I sacrificed a number of microfiber towels this week cleaning.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. That's okay.
You know, sometimes it requires a blood atonement, and the blood of microfiber is what I can provide.
Microfiber blood for the microfiber blood god? Okay.
Yeah. I dig that.
All right.
Next up here, we've got
David.
David says, "What's up, guys?"
What's up,
David?
David?
What's up, dude? And then Joey Belinsky, David Blowy. Sup, fellers, saying from JoJo.
Hey, JoJo.
What's up?
Kevin Meiser.
Levi, where did your preference for Pepsi products over Coca-Cola products
you love answering
come from? This is a great question.
It is.
You get it a lot. Okay. But when I was a kid, so going back, so I was born in 1980.
Yeah.
The year in 1976, 77, my dad had been racing cars with his best friend since 69. They'd been
good year.
They'd been racing stock cars, like they'd been going out to Firebird and or not Firebird, but Meridian Speedway.
Yeah,
doing some oval track racing, and they'd race super modifieds, stock cars. They used to have a 55 Chevy with a 57 front end that they'd run every weekend. They'd end up stealing parts at junkyard parts to build these cars. One year they did so well. So in 76, they did so well, they got a Pepsi sponsorship. So the local Pepsi sponsor, Nagel Beverage here, sponsored their race car. And Nagel was really big, Mr. Nagel, before he passed, was really big on creating what he called Pepsi Town USA in Boise. Boise and Meridian he wanted any of the big Pepsi executives when they'd land in Boise, because they'd been carrying Pepsi since 1921. His parents had brought it on, and was one of the first. It was the first soda in Boise, Idaho, that came over in that time. So 7-Up and Pepsi were the first local distributorships. So anyway, they came over. He really wanted to create Pepsi Town when he took over the business. So he was sponsoring like murals on buildings. So if you go through lots of parts, you could still find those. He would put up signage for restaurants. Like, he would spend money like crazy.
Yeah.
Because he wanted people to go, oh man, Boise, Idaho is a Pepsi town.
Yeah. Everywhere you look, there's
so branding. That was what it was. So he sponsored my dad and his best friend, who were running a championship level car.
Yeah. Yeah. The locals. So
got the local boys that are lighting up the track every night. Not only am I sponsoring the racetrack, but I'm going to have a sponsored car in that. And so he goes and buys my dad and his buddy a brand new 1976 Chevy Laguna S3.
Yeah.
They build it. My dad builds it into a race car, builds it fully race prepped with roll cage and pull out all the glass, put in plexiglass. They take out the headlight. They put in the bigger rear. They do. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. And they build their engine. They do all this stuff. And my dad was like, this. There was the only thing stock on the car was the body, big steel bodied sedan. And he goes, and then they gave us a brand new 77 Ford F-250 to tow with a trailer to tow the race car. And they were like, we want you to hit the whole Northwest Circuit.
Nice. Yeah.
And then they gave them a brand new 76 Cadillac Eldorado to drive, because the way Nagel said was, well, I don't want you boys driving the truck with the car on the trailer, and then when you get to a place, you unhook the trailer and leave the race car. You need to have the truck there in case someone needs something. But when you want to go out on the town, you need the Cadillac. And when I come visit races, I can drive the Cadillac. So they would Fast and Furious it with the truck, trailer, and race car and a Cadillac behind. And my dad said they'd take turns every like hour of who was driving the Cadillac and who was driving the truck. But my dad's like, it was a brand new Ford pickup that hadn't even come out yet. So that was how it started. Well, with that, my dad said all of the memorabilia that they got from Pepsi, like Nagel would just give them stuff. They would get jackets, T-shirts, hats, all kinds of stuff. So posters, clocks, everything. So when I was born 4 years later, my dad's house, my mom and dad's house, was full of Pepsi stuff. He met my mom in 78.
Needless to say, it influenced you just a little bit.
My dad only ever bought Pepsi products. That was just the way it was. Him and his best friend have only ever bought Pepsi because Pepsi gave them a big break to get them going when they were young. That was how my dad bought his first house, was because of Pepsi money from the races, because of just the sponsorships and the per diem they got. So I grew up in this Pepsi lifestyle. It wasn't anything different. It was just, we drink Pepsi in this household the same way my dad drove Chevys. Like he loved Chevys. All his brothers loved Fords. So that was where my love of Pepsi came from. And then for those wondering, the kind of fun was when the three of us got together with the rag company and doing stuff. We were noticing that Adams would do a lot of stuff with Coke. So for us, we just thought, hey, Adams is red. They do Coke stuff. We're blue. We'll do Pepsi stuff. And that's kind of where it came from. And there was just something, it was a fun, joking lore story that we've kind of created within our podcast, within the Q&A that we've been doing for so many years now. But that's why we have Pepsi. And on this wall right across from us, we have our Pepsi clock that we got when Pepsi started allowing us to do stuff. That's why TRC is sponsored by Pepsi, because they do literally donate soda to us for that. And my theory was, hey, my dad was sponsored by Pepsi. Maybe I can get a Pepsi sponsorship. So Anthony and I've gotten Pepsi shirts. We've got a Britney Spears Pepsi cutout, an original from like 2000, 99, choice of a new generation Pepsi. So yeah, that's how it all came out, Kevin. That's literally how it happened.
I think that thoroughly answers Kevin's question. Aaron's, what's up, TRC? It is time again for Los Angeles temperature to be mid-70s and 80s degrees with humidity and already feeling the mid to late 80 degrees.
Aaron, that's sweaty. It's what it's like here in Boise right now.
It's starting
but no humidity.
Yeah, we don't know what humidity is.
The nice thing is it gets cold. It gets down to like 50 at night, and then it's been hitting 80. So
the humidity doesn't show up until it gets cold.
Enough where you got to turn on the heat when you're driving because it's just brisk enough.
Just enough.
But then you got to, when you get back in the car and the heat starts blowing, you're like, oh my gosh.
Like too much.
It's 85 outside and
I do the seat heater.
Yeah, I do too.
And I try and avoid using the climate control unless I really have to.
Yeah, makes it nice. I taught Augie that. That's now like his move.
Yeah. Well, and
he'll go out and he'll be like, can you go start the truck? I go, why? He goes, I want to get our seat heaters going.
Better fuel economy.
Yeah. Like, all right.
All right. So, Joey here. My detailing strategy changes significantly when it gets colder here in the deep south. I have to wear a beanie.
I don't doubt it, Joey.
Well, yeah. I mean, with how tall you are, I'm sure it's like a different climate as you go further.
The higher up you are, it's a better chance of snow in the higher altitudes.
Yeah. No, I'm sure he walks around and just has to brush it off once in a while. It's understandable. It happens.
People don't realize. They're like, where'd the snow? It's like when you drive down. It's when you're driving around town. And it's a sunny day, and then all of a sudden a car goes through the parking lot, and it's covered in snow, and you're like,
where did they come?
They come from? That's how it is with Joey Belinsky, just naturally walking around. It's just people are like, where did you come from? I thought where. And he's like, oh, nowhere. I just came from the grocery store.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but it's because snow and higher elevations.
I get it. Tamara Chase. For me, my car washes are rinseless washes. Now my hose is shut off.
Oh, ready over there.
That is definitely a strategy change. I mean, if you're shutting off your hose water, then you're left with rinseless, which is not a bad thing.
I shut off my irrigation water.
Did you?
Yeah.
I need to get my sprinklers blown out here really soon.
I haven't blown my sprinklers out. I need to. I put that new system in, and it's got a leak.
I have that done on Monday.
I'm gonna blow it out, and I'll just deal with it next year. I think.
Okay.
All right. Next up here, we've got Frank Ellis says the Rip and Rag is so handy. End up using them all the time. Nice, Frank.
Yeah.
The Rip and Rag.
It's a good time.
Incredible.
It's so much. Like the best. So much fun.
Yeah. All we do is Rip and Rag here all day.
All the time.
We love Rip and Rag.
I went through like 5 since this summer. Like I go through a case of Ultra XLs a month.
Dude,
I had so many to wash this year.
It's hard to make uses for other towels when you realize just how many things you could do with Rip and Rags.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Belinsky says, but really, I look forward to cloudy days and longer dwell times for my chemicals, much less rushing around. Joey?
Yeah, okay.
I know what you mean. Mm-hmm. I know what you mean. I agree.
Yeah.
Coming up next here, we've got Howie. Says, I'm struggling with dust collecting on cars that I am using Bead Maker. What am I missing or doing wrong? You could try to top the Bead Maker off, or just maybe alternate with something like paint gloss.
Yeah,
that's probably what I would do. So maybe
or even hit it with Dream Maker.
Maybe use Bead Maker once a month, and then maybe have something like Dream Maker or paint gloss as your drying aid or add-on product for everything else. So, Bead Maker is great. We love using Bead Maker. It's one of the best, but we do know that, when using it often, you might have a higher chance of collecting more dust.
Well, and the fact of the matter is, where you're located when you're doing the job, you might potentially be susceptible to more dust than you would.
Well, you finish washing your car, you put some Bead Maker on, maybe you leave it out front, out front in the driveway. You go inside, maybe take a shower. You're not paying attention, and your neighbor's out there with his leaf blower, and he's blowing the dust everywhere, and it's hitting your car, and you're like, you don't know, you don't hear it because you're taking a shower or something. Then you get out and you go to get in your car, and you're like, how in the heck did this thing get all dusty? Yeah, sometimes that's what happens. Or you live on a street and there's people are driving down the road and kicking up dirt and dust.
Yeah.
Happens that way too.
But I will say it's not unique to Bead Maker. A lot of sealants, you do something. If you were to do any other sealant in whatever scenario you did Bead Maker,
you'd have just as much.
And you ran into dust, you probably would have run into dust with any other sealant in that environment.
Next up here, we've got Aaron's that says, any idea to keep yourself cool in the 70s and 80s degree with humidity that feels like 90 degrees?
Get yourself a wet microfiber towel and throw it around your neck. Yeah. Aaron, seriously. It's the easiest way to do it. It's the easiest way to keep cool. Fans are another thing. Pack some fans. Flex has made a really nice fan that you can get at Lowe's for like $120. Yeah. And it comes with a battery. Mm-hmm. It also comes with a cord attachment, so you can plug it in. Yeah. So you can plug it into a wall outlet. It's got hanging hooks. It stands on its own, and it puts out a ton of power. Mm-hmm, so you can run it as a battery-powered fan or a plug-in fan. But a lot of companies are doing that. A lot of the tool companies are making those. But I know the Flex has the option to be able to be corded as well, which is really nice.
Does that one also have the Mister feature?
No, it does not.
Or is that a different one?
That's the Ego has a has a Mister.
Has a Mister feature.
Yeah, okay. You can for a few $100 more, a couple $100 more, so almost $300. Yeah. You can pick up that
one's
Ego
serious business.
Fan, which is it's a beast. But that little Flex fan is great. You know, if you've got a pop-up tent or something, you can hang it up in a corner.
In the corner.
Yeah, you can do that. I did that with it when I took it camping, and it worked great.
They're durable. That's a big thing compared to like a cheapie.
And for the price, $120. If you get into those, that size, that strength of fan, that one really does outperform a lot of the other brands.
Yeah.
And has that ability to come. It comes with a cord too, so you can plug it in and then plug it into the wall.
Yeah.
So.
And Joey, with a suggestion, I keep a cold, damp ripping rag around my neck. It really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Get one wet.
Specifically rip and rag and TRC branded. I mean, that's gonna stay the coolest.
Yeah.
Gerardo says, hello TRC, could you please share your recommendations for soaps that are suitable for exposure to direct sunlight? Thank you. Most of the soaps that we have in our lineup are pretty sunlight safe.
The biggest thing is pH
minus
balance.
Minus
if it's neutral,
minus pH neutral. So, for example, we've got Pearl from PNS. No issues there. We've never had issues with Pearl. We've never had issues with Mata. We've never had issues with what's it called? Why can't I think of it? GSF. We've never had issues with. Why am I not thinking of the Bubbler? Bubbler, and then let's see, because I mean, the second you start getting to those higher pHs of 9
or
to
like
12,
the specialized ones that have protection in them, stuff
you don't
like
really
that.
want to. You don't really want to let those dry on the surface.
No.
What else am I missing?
Any of the ones he just mentioned, though, will be...
Radiance is also somewhat okay in direct sunlight. We've never had any issue with Radiance. Actually, no, we have never had issues with Radiance. What else am I missing? Help me out here, boys.
That's pretty much it.
I mean,
G-Wash.
You named it.
G-Wash is also safe, yep.
The biggest thing is just making sure that it's a pH neutral. So 7 is really where it is. No additives, no extra stuff to it, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, biggest thing is, soap stains can happen sometimes, regardless of pH too. It is kind of luck of the draw on that. So
that's a temperature thing.
A temperature thing, right? So it may not necessarily be the fact that you're in the sun, but it could just be that panel was just so hot. So
that's actually a big one to concern yourself with too. Is like they're saying, when it comes to the temperature of the panel is more important than the ambient temperature, I would say, in that case. Because if you're running into something where, okay, maybe it cooled off and the air feels good, but you go and touch a car and it's been sitting in the sun for a long time and it's really cooking, don't go introducing soap onto that just like right away, unless you want to create a situation where that could happen. So maybe you cool it off with some water first and then you work from there.
Or a fan.
A
couple things you could do is get a infrared thermometer with a little laser, and you can just shoot a car with it, and that way you can see the temperature that you're working on, especially on some of those sunny days, so you can get an idea. Because if you're at temperatures of above 150 degrees on the panel, you might want to hit it with some water and rinse it down and try and cool that panel down before you soap it. So a lot of it is just how to deal with temperature control on those panels too. So
and darker and lighter cars, it's with the retention of the heat. So just bear that in mind. And a long field, light colored long sleeves, cooling towels, drink water and electrolytes. That means Gatorade, and take breaks in the shade. Definitely. And the thing about the Gatorade is a little tricky. Like, you want electrolytes, but there's a lot of products that have electrolytes in them now for like different kinds of sometimes they'll just call them hydrating drink, and you just want to pay attention to that stuff. Because like Gatorade and things have that saltiness, that sodium content that'll just make you more thirsty. And you keep going.
Also the sugar content too.
The sugar. That's
more so the sugar than the salt. Because your body needs the salt. That's why you're dehydrated.
You want a little sodium, but dude, it's trade-off.
I really like, what's that called? Liquid IV. Those liquid IV drinks. Yeah. I just like to drink them just to drink them, but I think they're delicious. But those, I find I'm very, very hydrated when I'm drinking those. I mean, obviously you want to balance that out with water as well, but
chug a couple of these every day.
Yep. Next up, Dane.
All right. Next up, I got Driven Detail.
Says I knew more RSX content.
Ooh.
Looking at you, Anthony.
Ooh.
I knew more.
He might even need more.
You think he says he needs more?
Yeah. Or any more RSX content?
Why is he looking at me specifically?
Well, because you own an RSX.
Oh, I do own an Acura RSX.
You had to fix the hood.
No particular reason.
I forget that I own an Acura RSX because I haven't been driving the damn thing.
It's a good car.
Because I'm still... I hate this. I don't ever want to be ever injured again in my entire life. This is the stupidest longest annoying thing anyway, I'm not gonna
maybe you will need to drive the RSX, because I'm gonna ask you nicely, can I borrow your pickup this weekend?
I don't know if he's serious or not. He might be serious.
Dane and I talked about this.
I got a lot of work to do.
I offered him the truck bed trailer, but
I need to go a step further, I think.
He feels that having a proper truck to get the loads up.
Because I don't want to try and attach Green Bean to the lowered flex.
Oh, yes.
You could do it. I've got a flip-flop.
You could. It would be real weird, though. I'm feeling like without my wiring harness on there, it's going to be a little...
Plus, I'm thinking you backing it up into your...
Dang, you go down to the Home Depot, get yourself one of them brand new Chevy, or I think they're GMCs, right? Like
you could $20 a day. You could rent a Home Depot truck.
$20, and then that way you got actually have a little bit more fun, right? My
you'd have an 8-foot bed instead of a 6-foot bed.
That's true. It says that. I could have some fun with the Ram.
Carson Black says, please don't ask what I was doing in the castle.
Oh boy. What? All right, Functional Doc.
Functional Doc says, rabbit farmer in Germany.
There you go. All right, cool.
He's got the 1500 in there.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Oh, good. We got Simon
Birch is here. All right, Simon, what's up, man?
In the house.
How's your real Simon Birch coworker doing, by the way?
Still can't believe that.
That's crazy. What are the odds?
Hashtag RedFTW. And then next up, we've got Hippolito says, sorry, I think I put more than 61.4 on the one dilution. Well, absolutely. That's why it streaked a little bit. First time using. Okay, try it again.
That would do it. Yeah.
Less is more.
Doesn't he?
Especially with absolute.
Hippolito kind of looks like Dom from the Fast and the Furious.
That's what I always think. I was like, is that a picture of Vin Diesel? Every time it comes up, I'm like, oh wait, no, it's not. But
dude,
your instinct.
He looks like he's at Race Wars.
Yeah, he does look like he's at Race Wars, right?
ready to take some pink slips.
Yeah,
it's very circa 2001 filtered.
Anna says my Gaelic last name has something to do with farming, so that's why we are English.
Okay,
English Longfield.
I had a hunch Longfield was an English name, so yeah, that tracks.
Super Auto 2K says better late than never. It seems like lately I'm
always late. Oh, this guy.
Al, you're too much.
Ooh, asking the big questions. Anna here with a tough one.
What's the purpose of becoming a certified detailer? So that's a great question. The biggest thing is it going to make you more money? No. Is it going to make you a better detailer? Not necessarily. Realistically, if you are a detailer and it's a more of a personal thing, if you feel like you want to prove to yourself that you're recognized, or at least your skills and your knowledge is validated in that sense. That's what becoming a certified detailer is.
College degree, Levi.
Similar to that. So for myself, I barely graduated high school. And even though I hold an honorary doctorate in metaphysics.
You do. It is true. Reverend Dr. Levi Gates.
He went to the trouble of
I didn't. Dane, everybody that gets a PhD goes through the trouble.
He went to school for that.
Oh,
Dane.
man.
It was a lot of work and a lot of money.
You had to write a thesis.
I wrote a thesis, and I had to pay a lot of money for that to get a doctorate, most people that get a doctorate.
Levi, Dane, where's your doctorate degree?
I don't have one.
Yeah. You weren't willing to go the distance.
He's over here
willing to go the
competing
distance.
with Doctor Strange.
Yeah, you didn't want to go to the distance. I understand.
No.
So,
classroom just wasn't for me.
So, like me, for me, becoming a certified detailer, skills validated, was a kind of a just to make me feel better about who I was in the industry as a detailer, because many times we're just, we come from detail shops that aren't fancy. They're not glamorous. They're dirty. You work with folks that maybe their nickname starts with the word dirty. Maybe they're missing some teeth, or they've lived a harder life than you have. And you feel like, man, there's got to be, I feel like I need something to be proud of, feel like, this isn't just a job.
Legitimacy, accomplishment.
This allows me to feel like I've accomplished something. And that's really what being a certified detailer is. And that's what the IDA does. And so for me, it was about, I want to become certified because nobody in Boise is certified yet. I want to become skills validated because nobody in Boise is skills validated yet. And so that's how Matt and I did it. We became members of the IDA. We were one of the only members in the state. And then we became certified and skills validated. And then I had something that I could use as a selling point to my customers. And I could say that we are an International Detailing Association certified shop.
And we're certified
detailers. We're skills validated, and it's an international agency that has we've taken some exams and passed them to prove that. We also uphold a certain level of standards that the industry has that association has placed upon us. So there are certain things that you're getting with an IDA shop than you are with just some dude down the street. And so those were the biggest points for us, was to be at that level. And but at that point, it became a bigger thing where it was like, okay, now that I'm into it, how do I affect change in the industry? And that's one of the cool things about being a part of association. And when you think about it, dentists have an association, doctors have an association, lawyers have an association, realtors have an association. And it's to educate and learn and advocate and do a lot of stuff for the industry that you work in. And I'm sure there's an association in the industry that you're in as well. And the same reason that I look at it as similar to an ASE certification. You take your car to a mechanic and then you walk into a mechanic shop and they have ASE certifications. And some of these guys work really hard and spend money to get these certifications because they want to better themselves, because they can switch shops and they can go, hey, I'm an ASE certified, and it means I've done this and done that. Yeah. And the IDA has started doing that, where we've started adding motorcycle certifications and watercraft certifications. We're working on RV certifications. We've partnered with the ADA, the Aviation Detailing Association, that has set a series of standards in place to become an aviation certified detailer. And then we're working on a skills mastery at the moment to give you that second level of skills validation, a level 2. And that's been something that's been in the works for the last 4 years. So there's a lot of stuff that comes into that within the IDA. So
the point I wanted to touch on was
Dane's a certified detailer.
I know, crazy, right? The thing that comes up sometimes that I'll hear guys like who just, they want to sell it short or something. They go, my customers don't even know what that is. It doesn't matter. The point of having something like that, it is a bit of a marketing opportunity for you, because it's incumbent upon you at that point to educate your customer as to what that might mean for them and the kind of service and everything they can expect from that. And the point is, you use it to your advantage by showing, well, I've got this. And then when they go and look at the competition, and the competition doesn't have, anything that they're bothering to show there, if the customer cares about more than just price, more often than not, you have an air of legitimacy about you because you took the time to educate them about this. You took the time to be thoughtful about it and present it in a way that made it a positive. It's up to you to make it a positive.
Yeah. And we made it. Dane took the CD exam for the purpose of, one, just to test his knowledge.
And it's not like it's just automatically easy. There were questions in there where I was like, oh, this is challenging. But at the same time, if you know your stuff to a reasonable degree, it's not meant to just like weed everybody out. It's designed to test and make sure you are competent.
Yeah.
And everything beyond that is up to you.
Yeah. And we found out that Dane is competent in the knowledge that he speaks. And that was, but it was a big deal. We were really impressed with it. So with that, it's time for a break, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Yeah. So here in the next few moments, you're going to see some messages from ourselves as well as some of our friends in the industry. And then once we return, Jason from KCX is going to be joining us for the second half. I'm going to be stepping out. But you guys are going to be able to ask all of your KCX-related questions or just questions about life. And we'll see you here in just a few minutes.
Woo!
Put them all together like that.
And we're back. All right. So next to me here, we got Jason Miller from Koshemi, KCX. Hello, Jason.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for.
So we were just talking. He went to lunch and you didn't have finger steaks, but you saw them on the menu.
Yes.
Yes, I didn't have it. I had a burger, but I did have fry sauce.
Okay.
So I got to at least, dabble, if you will.
Yeah, there you go.
Idaho cuisine.
A little Idaho, so yeah. It was,
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
The finger sticks have a funny backstory. If you're curious, you can look it up.
Oh, I love, where I love, I do finger steaks.
Yeah?
Over at Burger and Brew down the street here.
Ooh, yeah.
They've got two variations. They've got like a appetizer finger steak, and then they have an entree finger steak.
Oh, right, yeah.
The entree one, don't touch it. It's too much. It's too many finger steaks. So it's literally just a strip of steak that's deep fried. It's just deep fried steak.
You like
and
steak?
then,
how about we deep fry?
And you can dip it in ranch, fry sauce, or a cocktail sauce, they call it.
Okay.
Right. That's the most popular.
Most popular is that cocktail sauce, but
interesting. But
I like it in fry sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally,
and
yeah.
So, but the appetizer ones usually like 10 finger steaks.
Mm-hmm.
That's plenty. I mean, you're eating a whole steak at that point. That's deep fried.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, all right, that's enough.
It was an appetizer.
Too many, you wind up looking like me. I'm trying not to
too many,
do
and
that.
it's it's heavy because it's a lot of fried.
So heavy.
But that's one thing my dad loves, he's still alive, loves finger steaks.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that when he's like, let's go to lunch, where do you want to go? And I was like, I want finger steaks. We're going to Burger Brew. He's like, me too. That sounds great. Well, that's the thing. So
without the table, it's like definitely note to self: don't eat a massive meal and then come in.
I'm
just like
you're wearing all black, so you're
at
safe.
my belly.
It's okay. Everybody comments on the cameras when you come in. You go, oh my.
Yeah, that's how it works. So the three of us, it's like that. That's the only problem with a wide shot.
You just can't win. Anyway, welcome to this half of the show. We've got questions and comments here. We've got Kimberly.
All right.
Mac here saying detailing in cooler weather requires a long sleeve stylish hoodie and a larger liquidator is what she meant to write.
Okay.
I checked.
Yeah. Yes. So, biggest thing with detailing in cooler weather, of course, is layers.
Yeah.
Because you don't ever want to get too hot.
No. You're working. You're moving. You're putting in the work. You're going to sweat a little, potentially.
Yeah, but you want to be comfortable.
You got to strip the layers off eventually as you go.
Yeah.
But, starts cool. Doesn't end that way.
Felix Bouchard with what is your favorite rinseless wash, guys?
Feels like 1 million have been introduced in the last year, right?
Well, I will say
one in particular.
I was going to say one in particular.
Really nice
we're a fan of.
I will say so. Rapid rinseless wash is available in Europe now.
Ooh.
Or is getting ready to launch in Europe.
Yeah, I would certainly.
Because it was a U.S. only.
It was because we were actually obviously it's a really popular thing here. So
rinseless in the U.S. market, it's kind of
so we took time to make one that we thought would be really really great, and we wanted it to be kind of stand out. So obviously ours I think is my favorite, but obviously I'm a little biased because
and that's okay.
I am, KCX, but no, there's other great ones out there. I love ours. I think a lot of the Levi and I were talking about this even earlier today on something else we were doing. I'm honestly I'm an old school detailer, so rinseless wash stuff is something that isn't really kind of it's obviously very popular, and my guys and everybody that sells the stuff and people like you guys buy it, and that's all great.
We eat it up.
I'm just not the best at explaining some of the things that it's used for, other than basically just the process now of detailing has evolved quite a bit. So
what I want to ask you is, because being KCX's German company and all this stuff, how did they look at rinseless wash? Like, what were their opinions as maybe just, coming from places where it's not as common, it's not as popular, it's not thought of in the same way that it is here in the U.S.? How did they approach it?
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, I don't want to say they thought it was stupid or something like that. But
it's okay because we've run into that with UK folks before.
Yeah, they kind of were like, I mean, why? I don't understand. So we guys like Justin and me and Andrew, we just kept making them understand why it's so important and how people are using it and why people want to buy it. And quite honestly, I used it for various different things. Like, some people think we're rinseless wash where you're using it on the outside of a car and it's to not use water, right? But for me back in the day, I did a lot of marine detailing in Pittsburgh, and it was always in the summer or always in the early spring after winter when they pulled the plastic off, and I was using it to kind of cool down the panel. I was using it to wipe off excess heavy cut compound before I went to the next step on boats and stuff like that. So that was me using ONR back in the day, and then now the modern day kind kind of thing is there's a lot more mobile guys, there's a lot more detailing being done, and sustainability is important. So you don't want to just run stuff into the drain. So a whole different kind of ball game of how the industry's kind of taken upon a product like that. So yeah, I mean, they didn't like it at first, then they kind of started to like it once we talked about like the volumetrics.
Well, because they had wash and finish before that too, and that was theirs, and they were like, why wouldn't you use that?
Yeah, but wash and finish does have something in it that kind of helps with a little bit of like some beating and sheeting afterwards.
Yeah,
there is a little bit of like a finish to it. So where we were like, no, we don't. there is ways to use it. We want it to be something that can be used in many different ways and have great dilution, and that's what we made. So.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact everybody who's used RRW seems to love it. So that's a very solid consensus.
At the Auto Mechanica, it got a great people were really interested in it.
Yeah.
It helped because KCX and Rag Company and P&S were back to back.
Yeah.
And Patrick, who's the distributor for Rag Company and P&S, was also the Optimum distributor for Europe, and so he was kind of the guy pushing Rinseless in general around Europe, and so it helped to have him there too, because people were like, "Oh, did you see the new KCX RRW?" And he was like, "I can't wait to get our hands on it because he wants to."
Yeah, it's exciting.
He wants people to at least sell that as well in his store. So because it's what we've got, and so it's super cool. But a lot of people were stoked. A lot of people loved seeing the new, and were asking me a ton of questions. So it was fun to get the KCX team grabbing me and going, "Hey, we need you to talk about RRW."
More Rinseless questions.
Yeah. I mean, I trust the R&D team and
they did
R&D
good,
business
but
development people were really, really good. So
they
something like that
really
when it's
product.
not like a car wash product or something in compound, like I'm a little more proficient and stuff like that. But for me, I trust that they're showing me all this stuff, right? Like when we go into the competence center, they'll say, "Hey, Jason, come here. I want you to see this and see how this is pulling the dirt a little more and see how." And I'm just, I'm kind of like, hold on, let me. Yeah, it feels smooth, So
for what it's worth, if we didn't like it, we would have said so.
Yeah,
but
there's some significant. Let's just put it this way: there was some significant differences in our product against some of the others that are out there that made me feel good about it's ready to put it on the market. And we revised that so many times in the last 2 years.
And that was the same reason Anthony and I were going through it, was because and that's the reason we carry it. Not it's because of the fact that it hit and ticked all the boxes Anthony and I have set forth for a rinseless wash and what it needs to do, which is why I joked, I even said this to Dr. G a couple years ago when he first got upset about us carrying Absolute. And he was like, "What the heck? You're saying it does everything that O&R does." And we go, "It does everything that O&R does. It goes about it in a different process."
Yeah.
And
it's a slightly different experience.
It's a very different experience, but it does do everything. And I go, and the same thing when we brought on RRW was that same thing of going like it
a different experience.
Does it in a different way, and each one is completely unique in how it goes about its process, but the end result is a clean car. And I said,
that's the goal.
We sell 8 different car wash soaps or 10 different car wash soaps, but we only sold one rinseless, and there was a reason, was because there wasn't a rinseless on the market that could tick all the boxes, and now there are those rinselesses that I feel, after doing rinseless for so many years, that can compete and can provide a great value for customers to be able to get a clean car and a great surface, and RRW is one of those.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things, is like I'm only going to carry stuff that works, and there are a ton of rinselesses on the market that are good, but they don't do everything I need them to do.
Yeah. So depending on what experience you're looking to have, on any given day, our favorite could change just based on what you reach for first. But being totally transparent, obviously, there's an interested party here. But love Absolute, love O&R, love RRW. I mean, there you go. That's the fact. So there you go. Joey, Dave cooked up something special with Rehab. It's so reliable.
It's good stuff. Good stuff,
yes,
Joey.
Definitely a fan. Then I got Anna here. There are a lot of detailers in my small town, but none are certified. That's why she asked you that question earlier.
So Anna, it just depends on even if it's a small town, it's not a big deal. It's really how you feel personally if you decide to be a certified detailer. It's really about you. And then it can be something that you can tell folks or customers and things like that. You do have to pay a membership fee to the IDA. So you got to become a member first. And you can see even Jason's got his shirt on that's got his IDA member and his skills validated, certified detailer and skills validated patches. So you do have to pay for your membership, and then you do pay for the exams as a member, a discounted rate. So total all in is usually about $320.
But it's as big or as small a deal as you make it. So really, as far as your local market is concerned, it really comes down to how you present it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, I got Spencer here. Oh my goodness, the super chat. We got to clap for that.
All right,
that's what we always do when somebody gets a super chat.
My contribution to trying to convince you three to come out to Mitchell once my shop is built and we trick it out with a pallet of TRC products.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Have you met Spencer Mason? He's a tractor detailer.
He's a fascinating guy.
In South Dakota.
Name's familiar. No, I don't think I've met him though.
Yeah, he's he'll be at SEMA, but you won't be at SEMA.
No.
But Spencer's
nice to meet you, Spencer.
Spencer's a tractor detailer. We interviewed him for our podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It'll be coming out soon.
I gotta edit Jack's episode.
It'll probably come out around SEMA, so those long nights and stuff for you that you'll be having, or early mornings, you can listen to it. But it's he is fascinating. The really industry he has found a niche in for tractor detailing.
Cool.
He is
combines
really
and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
And then I've got Anna here as well. Levi,
I want to get a polisher in rehab. Probably going to go Mark V. What pads would you mix with rehab and a Mark V? So realistically, the Mark V's fine. Rehab's going to be fine. The pads are really going to be up to you, Anna, and your personal preference. Like we said earlier, Anthony and I were talking, any of the yellow branded pads, whether that's Rupes yellow, whether that's Buff and Shine yellow, or even the Kosh Chemi yellow pads are all going to work just fine with rehab. And then realistically, you can step it up or step it down from there. So you can go to a more aggressive cut or go to a finer polish after that. Yeah. But yellow is kind of our middle of where we feel is a good level of aggression, but a good finishing as well. Nice. Do you agree, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I actually want Jason to answer this one. So read this one first. I think it'll give you an opportunity to go off, and then the rest can follow.
Sure. What are your favorite detailing products not carried by the rag company? Do you ever buy and try new products personally versus what you're testing formally? Okay.
Yeah.
So you want me to answer this?
Yeah, I mean, you had a shop and stuff.
Okay.
So you just told us these great stories earlier today. I'm sure you had plenty of experience with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I have. So I guess now maybe not as much. Sometimes to do a little side by sides or comparisons on things, but back in the day we had at my shop, Pro Car Care. I mean, I would kind of dabble in different things. We were very we really liked like the Lake Country pads. That was usually our go-to pads. Maybe a few here and there, something random, or you buy something that comes with something or whatever, it filters in. But for the most part, we were very kind of normal in the Lake Country pad stuff. G-Technic was like all of our products that we sold in our storefront were a lot of the G-Technic, like the chemical stuff, because I was at an accredited shop and we only installed G-Technic ceramic. So basically that was, it's a little bit different now, but and in rag company stuff too. But basically a lot of our ceramic coatings were all G-Technic coatings. So in turn, right, you're cashing your customer out, and in the little store that we had, we would then be saying, hey, when you're washing it, wash it with this, and if you're going to use tire, use the tire shine. It was mostly the G-Technic stuff. And then being that, like we were talking about earlier today, like the guy, the car wash guy in me from all the years of tunnel wash, I still always had this really good representative car wash guy that was kind of just my sales rep for a long time. So him and I always maintained a good friendship. So I would still buy like my tire shines and some like dressings and stuff like that from him. And it was kind of a little mix of his own kind of brand that he had labeled for him. But it was
homebrew stuff.
Yeah, homebrew stuff. And then also Simonized. Like we would just use like the Simonized blue tire shine. So it was a good mix of stuff. But Nowadays, there's a little bit more of a stricter thing that the way that the new owner of Pro Car Care handles it. But that was how I handled it. So, I think it's always good to try other things. And sometimes everybody sticks to one brand and now as a manufacturer side of things, it's really great if you're just all KCX. But the reality is you find things that work best for you and for your business. And you use what you like to use, and always be listening to whatever everybody says.
Well, and sometimes using other products from other brands and stuff makes you appreciate what you were already doing before, but you just wanted to go test the waters because you heard something and let me try it out. And then sometimes you find a winner. Other times you go, I think I'll go back to what I've been doing. Yeah. I'm all right.
Or your business is growing, right? So you love something that you're used to buying online or buying from a local retail store that's ready to use. And now you just really need to drill down your costs and your expenditure a little bit more. So I don't want to use a ready-to-use product. I love the product, but that line doesn't make a dilutable version of that product. So now I have to go to more of a professional level product and dilute it out and save myself money. And at the end of the day, we were talking about that earlier today. Just especially dollars in your business doesn't make any sense.
And people don't understand. They think like, oh, I love this product because, like, I see that in the home warriors or DIYers that get to a point where they're doing cars for friends and family. Maybe they're booked every weekend.
Yep.
And then they go, man, I'm going to do this for a living, and it's like. There's a level that you have to sacrifice, and you may not
started for the love of the
product and the way it works, and
it's different than going in as a business with that in mind.
And you start running shops that like Jason or I had.
Yeah,
you can't get away with certain amounts of product. If a company's like, "Hey, we only supply a 1 liter bottle."
Here's 200 products that I don't use.
You can only dilute it. You can only dilute it 2 to 1. Like. We'll just take KCX's Motorplast. Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful product, an amazing product.
Motorplast.
But there is no way you or I would use that for dealer work.
Right.
Like it just doesn't. It doesn't. The math doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Nor what the customer wants or expects. Now, that is a perfect use of an upsell for a retail client or something, and you can go, hey, I'm gonna. Do a engine detail, and we're going to do this, and it's $100.
And it looks like $1 million bucks.
And it's going to be protected, and it's going to look awesome. Okay, perfect. Because that bottle is going to cost me this much to have, and we're going to use half of it on this. So there's my good cost per, use ratio. But a lot of guys find that and go, oh, that's a little harder than I thought, or they don't realize the dilution. And there's a lot of great products out there that are super dilutable.
Yeah.
And it is about saving money. And when you're spending $2,000 a month in chemicals
you pay attention
to run your shop, watching guys burn an entire bottle of product in an interior, and you're like, how in the heck did you do that?
Yeah.
That car should only cost you this much money, and it's costed me this much now.
Yeah.
Those are some things to watch out for. But for myself, do I ever buy or try new products? So I don't ever buy anything anymore.
Sometimes people just randomly send you stuff.
A lot of stuff gets sent.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've bought products. I think the last time I bought products was probably 12 years ago. I bought an order. I bought some Dodo juice 12 years ago, maybe 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And I got a bunch of little waxes, just testers. And that was like really the last time that I've actually bought something for myself. Everything else I've thankfully been given or sent to me to use or try or test. But I don't talk about what I get or if I get something from somebody or what I like at the moment, other than the products we carry and sell here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I could throw one out there. I know you've liked in the past, at least.
Little Joe's?
Well, Little Joe's are amazing. Okay. I was just say Oberk, stuff like that.
Oberk, yeah, I do love Oberk. That is a product line that I use a lot when I'm doing heavy paint correction. Usually when I'm doing a lot of color sanding and stuff on show cars. That's usually my go-to is that.
Yeah. But Little Joe's, definitely.
Little Joe's,
we don't carry those, but I love Little Joe's. That's why I was...
it's a little air freshener. It's an air freshener. It's a little dude going like this that you stick in your air vent. It comes in different scents.
And, Stoner Car Care carries them
Stoner carries them here in the U.S.
That's where you get it from. But, no, they're fun. But, that's the kind of thing. And, like, We carry them now, but before we carried them, like the Last Cut, for example, was a good one where it was just kind of like word of mouth spreading of people like, oh my God, this stuff's amazing. I love this thing. And it was very small scale you're talking about. It's not like some big company has this product. So it was just kind of like, oh, that's not something you're typically going to get your hands on. But Anthony tried it, fell in love with it, and it became part of our lineup.
Yeah.
But no, those things can definitely happen. So do I have a specific answer for you? Unfortunately not. I'm definitely not the testing guy. These guys would definitely do more testing, but you get the gist.
Yeah.
All right. Then I've got Getty Costello here. Hi, guys. Why is there a need to use a water spot product when you have decontaminated the vehicle with iron remover and panel prep after polishing with no visible signs of water spots before or after?
Well, it depends on the car that you're working on, but you don't always have to do that. The reason you do that,
I was like,
though,
who made this rule?
I know it doesn't make sense to you, but take, for instance, Jetty, you just bought a used car. You don't have the history of that car. You don't know what's on that car. It feels rough and you want to decontaminate it. In a perfect world, you would then go through all the chemical steps. You would use an acid to clean the surface. You would use an alkaline to clean the surface. You would use an iron remover to clean the surface. And then you would use a prep service, a prep product to finally clean the surface, remove all waxes, oils, greases, anything like that. That's why you would do that, because then you would prepare the paint for proper correction. If you're doing this for a living, those are all separate services that you need to charge and pay for, or, and charge the customer for. So a customer can get a decon wash. And what's fun is you got products like reactive soap that is a pH of 1, that is an acid that will help remove some of those, especially for a vehicle that maybe doesn't have water spots, but it might have other minerals on the surface that need broken down or dissolved. That's what acids are for. That's why you use that level. And same with a high alkaline, like active foam or super foam. Those are a higher alkaline, and they're designed for that same purpose, to clean and remove contamination from the surface, whether it's an organic or it's dirt or scum or anything like that that's just kind of stuck or bonded with that paint.
Yeah,
right?
And that's... go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was hanging out with Connor at MVP yesterday for a little bit.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, a customer had walked in and was saying that he had parked his car over his buddy's house, and then the water came on and got water onto the car. And basically, I don't even know if the conversation went as far as like it was like the ceramic coating was affected or the pores were clogging or anything like that, but we talked about what reactivation shampoo could do, and because it's relatively fresh, you may be able to have simply washed a car with this, and you don't have to get involved in polishing.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, if it sat for a long time or was in a crazy amount of sun or whatever, it might be a little bit tougher to get out, right?
Yeah.
Or depending on what the car's coated with or waxed with, could deter how easy or how much it's bonded. But long story short, he bought reactivation shampoo, and hopefully it helped him.
Yeah.
No, either that or like FSE or something to start off with, something like that to attack and try and get rid of those while you can early. I imagine if his friend's sprinklers came on, there's a good chance around a year. Could have been irrigation water, which can be extra minerally and nasty. Yeah. So it could definitely do some work on.
Yeah, but Getty, there's also the thing that like most people think of like FSE is the lime scale remover and detailer that KCX has, is a great product for like if you're just in your driveway washing your car and you go to grab your towel and maybe you're chasing the sun a little bit, it's starting to dry on the surface. FSE is great. You can just wipe off, spray it on, and it will remove a lot of those minerals and things that are stuck in your water that are going to get off quickly, easily. And it's also going to add a little protection, a little slickness, a little gloss to the paint. It'll be a nice little product.
And and that's like a pinpoint attack, because with reactivation, you're presumably doing the whole car.
Yeah, exactly.
But in this case, FSE is great
area or spot
if you just got a
whatever.
Panel where it happened or something specific.
But it really just depends on the car itself. Like if your car's coated and protected and you wash it every week with a pH neutral soap, there's no reason to go through this all the time and do this 3 or 4 level system every time, because your car's fine.
And that's why I wanted to
You only need to do it when you have this kind of damage.
I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
Well, so the black band on our product, which would symbolize the paint and body section of our elements, is where FSE falls, right? So It doesn't, being that it's paint and body products, we don't put the pH level on there. But it's important that you guys know. So it's FSE is 2.5 pH.
Yeah.
So it
Definitely
is something
closer to
I'm following
acid,
off of what these guys are saying. If it's not something that you're trying to fix or mitigate a problem or whatever you want to say, like, you also don't need to be using those as regular items because you will take away if it's coated, the water behavior of the
I had a guy in a Porsche Club meeting or clinic go. So I just need to make sure I'm doing this right. I'm clay barring my car every wash, and I go, you do not have to do that. You do it maybe once a year. And he's like, well, I just want to make sure there's nothing on the car. Right. And it goes,
well, there is now.
You don't need to do that, right? Like, it's just too much. Some people just do too much. They don't need to. So, Jetty, depending on what you mean by your comment, there are ways that you have to do that and other ways that you don't have to do all those steps. And it just really depends on the vehicle and the work you're working on.
Final big note on this whole thing, because it comes from a place of, like, you feel maybe like you've been instructed you have to do things this way. I know that sometimes, like, if you're looking at YouTube and you're watching detailing videos, you can sometimes get the impression with how authoritatively some of these videos will say things that has to happen that way. Sometimes you have to understand who the audience for a given video is, though, because for people running a business, you don't know the history of the car that's coming to your shop necessarily. Yeah. That's what we're talking about here. Those are the kinds of cars where, maybe you do approach it like that. But if it's your car and you know the history, you know where it's been, you know what's happened to it, then you obviously understand better whether or not it actually needs that kind of attention. And more often than not, if it's been in your care and you care enough to be asking these kinds of questions and appearing in comment sections and that stuff, you already know the answer. Yeah. You took care of it enough that it shouldn't need that.
So, Jason, I gotta tell you, I've got a pole and a big green wash brush at home. Okay. I unlocked muscles I haven't used in years.
Oh, boy.
And I bought it solely so I could wash, like, my trailer. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, my gosh, I forgot how fast I am with a stick and a brush to brush and wash a car from all those old car washing days. Oh, it's good stuff.
Old memories.
All I was going to say real quick on that one was just in closing, of course, there's never a bad question to ask. So
no, absolutely not.
Asking questions, and that's exactly what this show's all about. And also, this is exactly what we were saying earlier. We'd love to be able to lend, sometimes maybe the answers aren't the best, like earlier. We don't really buy products really anymore, but at least I kind of touched on just the days of when I did and comparing different things and stuff. But never wrong with asking the question.
Yeah, and my answer was not meant to be any kind of discouragement from asking those kinds of questions. It's merely to point out that when people ask these questions, I oftentimes try and think, what did they experience that led to them asking this question?
Right.
Like, what made them feel like, oh, people have to do things this way? Well, that's interesting. What information were you given that made it seem like that?
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to surmise there.
Yep. Cool. Right. Awesome, Tamara, Frank. With the racing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Tamara.
It's all right. No.
Boom. There we go. Yes.
Yep. My father also raced cars, super modifieds, and okay.
Oh, okay.
I was going to read it.
Sorry.
Frank L., does paint gloss lock up pads like a regular sealant? No, it does not. I'm looking for good drying aids or final wipe sprays that I don't destroy towels. I know I can car wash, but don't always want it.
You'll be fine with
paint gloss is just a normal quick detailer, but it doesn't have any protection. It's a light, more of a dust removal.
Yeah, it's your friendly neighborhood quick detailer.
Yeah.
All right, Kimberly Mack.
The worst is when you feel like you're sweating so much you could easily bend over and refill a bucket. Yep, Kimberly, you got to stay comfortable.
That's a mood.
Credible Auto Detailing. What up, gang? How's it going? My question today is, what are the top 5 tips you would give to anybody just starting out that didn't have a clue what they were doing? Keep it up. That's a good one, Jason.
Jason should definitely lead this one.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, kind of exactly what I was just saying a minute ago. Always be asking questions along the way, because I'll tell you this also, and then I will answer. at one of our KCX trainings more recently, I kind of did like a guest spot and talked about business development and growing your business. And Diego had asked me to speak on like some little points and keys that guys can. There's a lot of people in the class that were still new in growing their businesses. Yeah. And one thing I said, and somebody asked a great question at the end. That's kind of what I'm getting at. He said, "Have you ever made any mistakes along the way?" And I said yes. And first of all, I love the question. Secondly, for me, it's you once you start, and this is great, you're asking right away, but once you start to understand your business and you start to grow your business, don't ever think for a minute there isn't more that you can learn and adapt and be able to pivot and do a lot of things that we were talking about that I had to do in my business many times. So you can never stop learning. And that's what I want to say here. Yeah. Now, back in the early days, there wasn't the kind of classes and, Detail Wises and Detail King Academy. There wasn't all the different ways to learn. Yeah.
You pretty much had a guy on a truck. That was about it.
You did, or
the guy that was in your shop.
Yeah, you can't even watch YouTube, right? Yeah. You hopefully hire somebody that maybe buffs better than you did, or you hire a guy that can do PDR because he worked at a detail shop and they asked him to do dents or whatever. But all I can say is invest in yourself, and don't be afraid to go out there and do something and learn more things. And that's one of my biggest mistakes was I never really went and took a bunch of classes. I never got certified for certain things. Of course, I did get accredited G-Technic and did some things later on down the line. But in the early stages, I thought, well, I detailed interiors and detailed them for 10 years, so I'm the best interior detailer.
Yeah.
Well, I did this. So you don't learn the newest cutting edge stuff. I was kind of behind the times a little bit in the first few years of my detailing company until I started reaching out and looking and seeing what people were doing and thinking, man, why am I using
that was also the detailing industry back then.
It was. I get it.
That was how we were. Like you didn't want to divulge your secrets. Yeah. Because you were doing better than others.
Everybody was an island.
Well, yeah, everybody was an island until we all realized that we're actually, there's a giant world out there and we're just a small speck. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, when you realize that, like, I always joke about this. There were guys that would come in and introduce themselves and go, I'm going to take over this town in 10 years. And I go, how many cars did you do last month? And they go, I did 37. And I go, all right, that's pretty good. I did 4,000 last year. There are 2 million cars in the valley.
Yeah. Neither of us are going to do all.
I only did 4,000 of them in a year with 125 cars a month. Like, just going to tell you, that's just a drop in the bucket, bud. Yep. And once they realized, they were like, oh, then the competition was kind of done. And it became, okay, now we're going to be colleagues. We're going to be friends. We're going to work together. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And once they saw that, then it was like, oh, okay, I can do that. Yep. And I think that's where all of us had to get to. I think all of us had to get to a spot where once we got there, we could grow and see. And like you say, we didn't have trainings. It wasn't until I got here that I was like, I want to learn everything I can and then make videos explaining all that stuff so I can tell other people, because I felt I was like kind of trapped for a long time by myself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would say, there'll be something we're working on earlier today coming out maybe in a few weeks or so. I don't know when it'll be finished, but it deep dives into a lot. Is it okay if I'm talking?
Go for it.
No, absolutely.
Okay. Talking about my career, right? And starting off in a car wash and then, owning my own detail company and then moving into even something as large as working for a manufacturer. So all I can say there is just, you got to be willing to make some adjustments and willing to learn. Yeah,
ask questions. I can
rattle off 5. Ask questions, and then once you get to where you're in a shop or you own a shop or rent a shop, whatever, it doesn't matter. Then you really start working on the business itself, right? So
I'd say get a mentor.
Yeah,
someone you could ask those other questions. Yeah. Don't ask your a tattoo artist told me this. A buddy of mine literally said, stop asking your broke friends for advice on how to run your business.
Yeah.
Ask somebody who's made money at a business.
Yeah.
And that's where I ended up getting a mentor, and that guy, much bigger in business than I could ever physically imagine being, but he had a lot of great insight into how to run at a macro level. Yeah. Or micro level, which would be his business.
Macro is big, micro is
micro at a micro level of a micro business compared to his macro business. But it allowed me to have that person ask those questions too. Mm-hmm. So
if I could throw one thing out there, I would say don't expect things to just happen on their own. You kind of need to be the master of your destiny on this. And that's definitely something where you need to be in your head prepared to accept an opportunity when it presents itself. Like, that's not to say luck isn't a factor. You know, it can be. Sometimes timing just happens to be great, and an opportunity opens that door, and whether you walk through it or not, you have to make that decision for yourself if that's the right move. But you may not always know the answer. Sometimes it's a risk, and you just got to take it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
That's a big part of making those moves.
And slow and steady.
Yeah.
You know? It's always fun to...
You can be eager, but don't...
act bigger than you are even, and really chase after something hard and run from it. I always say, run from it like you're running from a grizzly bear. You run towards it like you're running from a grizzly bear, right? But take the time and make sure that you're doing it right, because many times I can tell you this, and probably not the time because it could go forever, but I made a lot of mistakes, and I had to pivot and change a lot of times, and a lot of times it would have just been if I would have not wanted to be the biggest shop in town, or, wanted to have every single service. I removed a ton of services over time because it just, like I was saying, it just was base was important, and they were more empty dollars in subbing stuff out to a wheel guy or a dent guy, let's say, instead of me just focusing on the things that made our company the most money. And it was ceramic and PPF and everything that we did in-house, tint and in detail.
And not being terrified to possibly slip and make a mistake, because those are the areas where you learn the most usually. Yeah. So you need to also be accepting that you're not always going to be the smartest person in the room. You're not always going to be a genius who gets it right every time.
Yeah.
But you also need to be able to take a hit and keep going.
There you go.
All right. Now, Super Auto, back in the day with Uncle Levi. Yes, that's right.
Okay, now it all makes sense. You were forced to drink Pepsi as a kid. Got it. Yep, that's exactly right, Al. Then Mark Abar, looking forward to seeing you all at SEMA. Good to see you, Mark.
Yep, you'll see him. Unfortunately, I will not be there this year for the first time in a long time. But I will be back next year, I'm sure.
There's some who call me Tim. I have a car with heavy rock chips, have just been using bead maker, but want to polish and coat. Can I just do a rinseless wash and start working on doing touch-ups when I have time, compound after? You totally can.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world if you do it that way.
Yeah, you're totally fine to do that.
Try Dr. Color Chip.
Yeah, the Dr. Color Chip has a solvent that you kind of clean the surface with, and it'll remove bead maker and that kind of stuff. So,
all right.
And then can I just dab the paint in the chip with the tip of the toothpick? I've never had good luck with thumb swipe trick you showed. Yeah, you can do that. They also have paint touch-up brushes that you can buy on Amazon that are like toothpicks with little bits of fuzz on them, and those work great as well, too.
Do that.
Kias do many little spots and not one big glob.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The mistake is trying to do too much too fast.
And then Kimberly, can you touch up a steering wheel without a heat gun? Yeah, you can. You can use a blow dryer, Kimberly.
Yeah.
You can do that, too.
Poor man's heat gun.
Yeah. You don't have to have, we're not talking like crazy heat. It's just the heat gun heats up a little faster, but a blow dryer works just fine.
Blow dryer can still get pretty hot.
Almost everybody's got a blow dryer. And if not, you can pick one up pretty cheap. Frank L., I meant towels, not pads, when asking about paint gloss. Oh, yeah, no, Frank, same thing. Paint gloss, totally fine on towels. Not going to hurt anything.
You're all right.
Further details. Would you use rinseless would you use RRW in a pad washer and wipe off compound residue? Yeah, you totally could.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see any reason why not.
Probably clean your pads out real good.
Yeah.
The fine tip decorator pen is the best for rock chips. I think the brand is King Art. Maybe the rag company carry rock chip tools, or maybe makes them some. You never know.
We got wrap tools. Rock chip tools would definitely be an interesting evolution.
Yeah. Super Auto Prime Hydration drink.
Okay.
For the win. Gross.
Buddy.
Neil White, I'd love to become a certified to detail F-35s and F-18s.
Something tells me those
check out the Aviation Detail Association. They are ex-Air Force guys, so and they're ex-Air Force mechanics and techs, so they know a lot about planes. Best.
All right, then I got Anton popping in, just saying hello, everyone. Welcome,
What's
Anton.
Up, brother?
Little late, but happy to have you here. Hopefully, you've had a chance to watch most of the show.
And ASC and manufacturer-specific certifications in diesel fleet maintenance. OSHA, NCCO, and construction. There you go. See, you've got certs.
Yep. You know it.
Super Auto is Idaho fry sauce like the one in Seattle area, mayo, ketchup, and onion salt. Pretty much, Al. Pretty much.
We talked about it and like the various nuances. I mentioned a lot of times around here they use pickle juice or relish, like in the old school places.
Or horseradish.
Or horseradish, which I'm not. No. I like horseradish on its own with steak, but I don't like horseradish in
I hate
sauce.
I hate horseradish with a passion. I cannot abide horseradish sauce or horseradish flavoring.
I like horseradish. It's an acquired taste.
That and onions can go away.
Oh, onions are magical.
It's Joey Belinsky. Got to dip out a little early today, fellas. Hi, Jason. Bye, Jason.
See you, Joey.
Thanks, Joey. See you later. David Boyce.
KCX, how do I go about getting the correct coloring balm for my leather seats? Is there an address I need to inquire about or a phone number? Ooh. So he's talking about Refresh. Because back in the day, you could order from ColorLock's website,
right,
and they would mix you up a bottle of custom matched Refresh. That is a Brian Guy question.
Well, I mean, no, so basically we're slowly
incorporating everything.
Everything, yeah. So there is some of the stuff that we have in stock currently at KCX. We just were working on this literally the last couple of nights. So you can go on the KCX USA website, but the problem is we're not color mixing or matching anything yet in the USA. So eventually, we would, if you find something on the website that would need to be basically tinted or whatever, we just got some of that equipment sent to the United States, and we're currently setting that up. So if it is something like that, unfortunately, I don't,
I would say, David, if you want, go to the Rag Company group, look up Brian Guy, GUY, and message him on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way. He's got a lot of the color mix stuff at home. He can make that.
Yeah.
As and if you need it now, otherwise, you will be able to purchase it from KCX because they are like Jason said, they're going to start having it.
It's just stuff now that we already have, and we're working very, very hard to get everything picked back up again. So
yeah.
There's some stuff basically tied up in port with the whole delays and everything. So. We're trying our best, but we'll be doing that very soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's where you're going to get it now. I know I've been onboarding all the ColorLock products, and I had to find an old version of Leader Zentrum's website to get all the info, because when you go to the ColorLock website, it would take you straight to KCX's website, and it would say under construction.
Yeah.
And so I had to do a little old school stuff because, and I had till the end of September to get it done, because September 30th was the last cutoff day before Leader Zentrum disappeared into the ether because of the KCX acquisition.
Yeah.
So, so that's stuff's there, but you gotta, a lot of the older ColorLock trainers are still mixing in-house. So you'd have to reach out to Brian to get that. And that's even if he even has product that he has enough to mix up you a little small batch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just wait till you get it from KCX.
Yep.
Jeff C., any possible updates on a Fresh Up for Men?
Oh, yeah.
The RRW scent would be amazing.
That is my
Andrew
favorite
loves
scent.
this.
Yeah.
Well, at SEMA, you guys had the case, the fragrance case, and
nice
Anthony was
case.
over there sniffing all of them. He almost took it home with you.
Yeah.
I think you had it handcuffed to your wrist.
Yeah.
At one
Yeah,
point.
it was like,
It was a silver briefcase.
like I was like a...
Yeah. Yeah, you literally did have that. And I think Anthony kept trying to... It was weird. He had bolt cutters up his shirt and stuff. He kept coming over.
Yeah, he tried to be subtle,
Yeah.
and he was not.
Yeah.
And I also may or may not have been dressed up as Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
that,
do that.
was may or may not have been a
You never
factor.
know. You never know.
Jolly old Jay.
Tamara, KCX RRW is all I use for my rinseless. It smells amazing. Thank you, Tamara.
Awesome. Thanks.
Love that. Anton?
Anyone tried the new Optimum Hyperfoam? No, we have not. I do have a sample on the way. So
Have to try it and see what we think. Obviously, there must be some, soapy
Felix
business
asking
going
the
on
same
in there.
question.
Yeah.
Felix, we got it on the way. We're going to try it out.
We'll find out.
Brad Allen, 81. Question for Jason. Is there any protection in RRW, and does it bond to the surface, or does it go away in a couple days? How does it work on road salt?
There's not so much like a lasting effect is protection, but there is like I don't know, what would you say, like a kind of a baseline to it that does give it like a nice kind of soft to the touch kind of feel, and does kind of say you spray a little water on there, there's a little bit of kind of like maybe a beating effect-ish to it.
It's identical.
Like protection.
Yeah, it's pretty much identical to most rinseless washes.
Yeah.
It provides a clean surface. What most people don't realize is
people get hung up on this doesn't leave anything behind comment.
No.
The internet has made this such a
it's a different type
topic,
of
yes.
So here's the thing. Most people don't realize, but a freshly painted panel is immaculate. Mm-hmm. A freshly polished panel is immaculate.
It hasn't
but a freshly clean panel, even with a rinseless, is protected. Mm-hmm. Or is not protected, is clean to the surface. So you can have clean water behavior on all these, even if there's nothing on it.
Sure.
Many people, like you say, get hung up on this because Ivan talks about this.
Yeah.
And he talked about it for years.
Yeah.
Substantive polymers sit on the surface, and then when you go to wash your car a second time,
it's easier the next time.
Those polymers recognize that there was a memory or something. It's not something that stays or is going to be something that's going to prevent or repel or do any of that. But so many people are like
confused about.
But does it leave anything behind? Well, in theory, everything leaves a memory.
The only
reason ghosts. But the point is regardless, you're going to use the prep product that the coating company recommends. So if you want to use a DIY coating and they recommend using their Rinseless as the prep product, okay, go for it.
Yeah.
Use it. If you want to use a KCX coating and they recommend using paint preparation spray or panel preparation spray, use it. Because that's going to be your number one failure point is that you didn't use the prep product with the coating.
Because in their testing, that's what they use.
So many people get hung up on, I don't want to use that rinseless because I'm going to do a coating. Well, what coating are you going to use? Because you need to be using the prep products that the coating company or the coating manufacturer requires. And that's got to be your first step when you're installing that coating. And so if it's something like that where you're asking, hey, does it bond to the surface or go away in a couple days? And how does it work on road salt? Like, are you going to coat it afterwards? Is that what you're worried about? Or are you going to chase it with a protection agent and you want to make sure that it's going to work together? Again, I'd recommend you use a product. Like if you're going to use Absolute, I'd recommend using Beadmaker or Defender because they're going to be all the same. If you're going to use DIY's Rinseless, go for it. Use DIY's Rinseless and then use their quick beads after because they're going to work. The chemistry is going to work together. If you're going to use RRW and you're going to use SO2, use them.
Because whatever guarantees a product is making with a company's literature, whatever it says in the bottle, their testing they conducted was with their products being used in conjunction with one another to create the result that they say is the result. As soon as you do any cross-contamination between other things, then you're just kind of making it a mystery solution. It'll probably work, but the guarantee goes out the window.
Yeah. I was going to say, so within the KCX range, of course, don't forget about wash and finish. So there's a big difference here. Now we're talking, you're saying rinseless wash, and if you're in an area or you're simply trying to not, you want to dilute the product and you need to have the water to dilute the rinseless wash, then that's fine. So wash and finish there's a difference. There's a waterless wash and then there's a rinseless wash. So waterless wash, which is what wash and finish is, doesn't require any water. It's ready to use. The product's good. You put it in your bucket. You use your rag or you use your mitt or whatever you're using. But that product does have a little bit of a lasting finish to it. So it could give you something that Rapid Rinseless may not, as far as a little bit of after protection. But I don't know. Road salt is just road salt. So there's not
you got to clean it. I don't think there's really many things that are going to
protect the actual clear from it. You just want to wash that stuff off.
But I will say RRW cleans the best. I think in terms of many other rinseless wash, I think it cleans and prepares the surface the best.
Yep. Yeah. So the question is a reasonable question. Don't feel bad for asking it. Obviously, we're glad you asked it. But where it comes from a lot of times is from people not understanding that the reason why somebody's concerned about something being left behind. The fact of the matter is, if you're leaving something behind or not, in the sense that we're talking about, where it's that polymer that's left on there, it's not going to impact your ability to leave a sealant or a coating or whatever. But it's in your best interest to then use like products with like when it comes to brands, and you're applying some kind of protection, whatever you clean it with. It's probably best to err on the side of using that brand's products. All right. So, Aaron Bauer here. Germany market doesn't see the value in RRW since the laws make it strict to do it. That's interesting, because it's actually kind of the opposite, because it's about water conservation here. So
no, that's a great point, Aaron. Actually, when we talked about it earlier, I think we went into something else, and I feel like we didn't actually get to answer that much better. But yeah, you're completely right, and honestly, that refreshed my memory on why it wasn't so important there. There's a very strict laws in Germany. In fact, there's no remote car starters over there. You can't even start your car in the morning and warm it up in the wintertime.
That's emissions.
But I'm just saying. So yeah, I mean, I guess the usages over there are quite different. You normally don't do a lot of that kind of stuff in your home driveway.
You wouldn't wash your car in your driveway. You'd take it to a place, or you'd have somebody do it that would take care of all that.
Right, and the chances are, they're probably going to be using either a machine like tunnel style car wash, or an in-bay automatic car wash, or it's going to be a detailer. And quite honestly, they're probably going to wash it and foam it down or whatever. So there might be a reason why they don't ever have it, but I'm hoping that they do, because we played a lot of heavy put a lot of weight on getting that product developed. So we would love to see it everywhere. But I'm not sure.
The Netherlands, that was a big thing. That was the one thing Rinseless worked well, was because of the fact that you could wash it at home. And that was one of the big reasons that O&R did really well in the Netherlands and in some of the other markets, was because of how safe it was.
Yeah, compared to any kind of soap chemical stuff like that going down
because
a
there's
drain.
a lot of permeable surfaces.
A rinseless wash, especially one that does not contain any of that protective stuff, generally speaking, is going to be a lot safer going down a drain than most car wash products.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we got Kimberly here. We're on the last
FSE
page.
Really saved my bacon from water spots recently. I forgot I was using soap and a hose and not Target water and Rinseless.
It's all about that Target water, you know? Sydney really popularized that one. We got Anna here. Is KCX more ready to use or dilutable when it gets to the liter and 5 liter sizes?
It depends on the product.
This doesn't say.
Yeah, it's not the same across the board.
Yeah. Yep. Top Star is ready to use in a 1 liter. But
just because it's in a 5 liter doesn't mean that it's not you dilute it. It's just that product in a larger size.
Yeah.
So pay attention to your labels.
Yeah. It'll tell you if it needs to be diluted or not. And then Jeff, any chance of getting RRW in a 5 liter size? Oh man, Jeff, that'd be sweet.
That's
we were kind of gaining, making sure that getting the product kind of brand recognition of it first, or the product recognition of it first, I should say. As long as the demand's there, I mean, we're filling bottles anyway, so we could fill 5 liters. We usually start with a 1 liter product unless there's an immediate need where we would probably start, you'll see this, right? So normally if we start a product off in 1 liter, that's because there really probably wouldn't be a need to have it in 500 mil.
Yeah.
So when you see 500 mil and 5 liter right away, it's because you have try it out, see what you think, and then boom, 5 liter is what you normally order in it.
Now I love it. Now I need a lot.
Yeah. So for 1 liter on something like that, because it dilutes out so far, you get a lot out of a 1 liter bottle. But we are probably more than likely we'll have 5 liters soon.
Yeah, for shops who want to do really dedicated lots of rinseless work. Yeah, that makes sense. I got Al here. Details on KCX WF, please.
Wash and finish. We've had it on sale here at the Rag Company for, ever since we started to carry it, since we carried KCX. So a lot of people didn't know about it. We didn't use it a lot, but it was one of the sprayers in our line system. We used it many, many times. The difference was it only ever came in a 5 liter. Al, so
that's a case where you did have the
that was that was one where we kept trying to get it in a 1 liter, and even Andrew was like, it's so hard for Germany to wrap their heads around, well, why wouldn't this is, you spray it on and wipe it off, why would we give you a 1 liter of it? And we were like, well, because they were like, you just poured in another bottle.
Yeah,
that's how they saw it. So
not everybody thinks that way.
We'll see, you never know.
Yeah,
but it comes only in 5 liters. So
in 20 liter.
And the 20 liter.
In case you need a lot more.
Rag company wise, you guys don't carry those large sizes like that.
Anna saying a lot of brands are RTU and it's not cost friendly. Yeah. And but we got to remember, Anna, we're in a game, like the Rag company is unique in that it sells some dilutable products and a lot of RTU products. You go over to next door to Connor's, he's got a lot of dilutable products available. Because he's selling to detail shops and they're selling off the truck, and they tend to sell a lot in 5 liters. And when you and I would buy from our businesses, we would buy 5 liter or 5 gallons.
5 gallon,
and 50 gallon drums of stuff because we'd go through it and you're using it a lot. So for folks that are in a garage, like I wouldn't use more than a gallon at a time now.
Yeah.
I mean, a gallon's kind of overkill. So
yeah, you think about customer bases, brick and mortar is going to appeal to those shops probably more than anything, just so they can run and grab it in a pinch kind of thing.
Yeah, or if I'm running a mobile rig, I'd be using more and more
with your truck going around
gallons
delivering
and 5
products
gallons
too. But for enthusiasts and for weekend warrior types, they're more inclined to go online, compare different brands.
Well, the goal is it's a staircase. You start here with ready to use. Try this product. Learn the technique. Use this, and as you get better and better and better in different skill sets of stuff, then you get into learning dilutions. And you learn, I can use this product at this dilution. I can use this product in this way. I can get more out of this. That's how we all kind of fall into it.
Understand it's a matter of who walks in that door, right?
And then you get into that car wash level, and it's like thousands to one and 2,000s to one.
Aaron Bauer, need a KCX Fresh Up shirt. Just have that periodic table symbol FU.
That's a good idea.
That would be a popular one, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
And Hans.
Hello,
Microfiber Gods. What's up, Hans?
You're here after hours, buddy.
Al, water spot remover is truly a mineral remover that can cause water spots and not really a water spot remover. Yep.
And that's definitely a goal there, is trying to get the minerals out.
And then Tim, if I want to do a recon wash to clear clog coating, what are the recommended KCX products, dilutions, and processes?
Sorry, I was thinking about something. Clear clog coating, what are they recommended? So clog coating, I would obviously start with the probably the reactivation shampoo. That should, and that acidic value, like we were talking about earlier, normally is what would kind of clear those pores or unclog those pores, if you will, and kind of bring any contaminants that's in those pores or on the coating kind of back down to the coating. Now, again, like we were talking about, regular use of that, I would go back to more of like a gentle snow foam or another soap after you had done that. You wouldn't want to use an acidic shampoo all the time. But for that, I would definitely use that. What else do you have? Dilutions in the process. So, I mean, basically reactivation is simply used the same way that you would either foam on or use any of our soaps. You can if you don't have a foam or a lance or something, you obviously could bucket it. But foam, if you foam it on and allow it to dwell, that really gives the time, I think, to kind of unclog and do what it needs to do. Yeah. Yep. And the dilutions are on the bottle. I was going to say that even for the last comment. Our website, and I know you guys do a great job of having dilutions and everything on yours as well. But every product in Coke Chemi's kind of portfolio on the website, there's what we call like a tech sheet for each one, and those dilutions and if applicable, like different ways to use or combine product or whatever is all on the Coke-Chemi website.
Yeah.
Okay.
So nice. And Kimberly with a great point. Be sure you're grabbing FSC and not PSS. Read your labels.
Yes. Read your labels.
Well, for one, you shouldn't have a sprayer on PSS. I probably just wouldn't in general.
Yeah, no.
And KCX products for heavy contaminated non-coated cars with a bunch of orange spots, rust. I don't think it's ever been washed. It's a white 18 Nissan. I'm thinking wash, decon, polish, and coating. Yeah, so for heavy contamination, non-coated car with a bunch of orange spots, rust.
Reactivation. Rapid rinseless.
A triple R.
RRR.
Yeah. Reactive rust remover.
Sorry.
Yeah. Use that, or even a magic wheel cleaner would work too on that paint to try and break some of that up before you clay it. So,
yep. All right. Don't worry, I've got just a handful more.
I love Coke Chemi's Glass Star. The label said 3-1, but I use it at 8-1 with a great success. Such a great glass cleaner. Thank you, Hans. We don't get that one here.
No,
so
we don't have that here.
Jason's like, oh, come on.
I know.
And then Hans again. How could one get such a nice KCX shirt patch for Dixon?
He likes a patch.
Oh, yeah. You guys can pick them up.
All right. Talk to him. You'll see. Grant F with a yurt. Yes,
Grant?
hello, Grant. And then I got Anton.
I'm sorry, but is that Sal from Impractical Jokers?
He was just talking earlier
We were
today.
talking about it.
I said you have a distinctive look, and he just went, Sal.
Yeah. The first time I was on here, afterwards, there was like an after pour of like, is that Sal or Sal or whatever. So, yeah.
Got him. Hans.
Use a hairdryer to dry leather paint. It's air movement that will dry leather paint.
Yeah.
That's
There
what we're
we
saying.
go.
Hello, guys. Smokey67. Is there any reference material books to look at before IDA testing? So, not at the moment. What we are currently doing, the IDA used to have study guides. Now, we're trying to sign up for a CD and a day event, but there are, if you go to the IDA website, there usually are some things that you can use as study or prep items. But more than likely, I'd reach out to an RIT and find out. For many of the guys, like I said, we do the CD in a day event. I try to run through PowerPoints, and we try to do that. Most RITs do that when folks are doing the CDs. But if you are going to just do the CD online, which you can do, I would recommend checking the IDA's website and reaching out. We used to have an old study guide, but we've changed the test, and so now they're working on a series of videos that people can watch. So not all of them are up and available yet, but that's what the different committees are working on. David Cervantes, have a great weekend, guys. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
And that is the end of our program.
Perfect. There we go.
We went 11 minutes over time, but it was worth it to have Jason here, especially answering these questions at the end. We got some good in-depth stuff in there. I feel like you guys learned. Holy cow.
Hey. Whoa,
There's
$10 from Anna.
chat.
All right.
That's wow.
Hey,
wow.
You're helping.
Holy cow.
Informative resource.
Thank
You're welcome,
you
Anna.
very
Thank you
much.
for asking all those questions.
Yes. So, I mean, obviously, you guys understand the show is made by you, for you. We're just here facilitating it, but really, you guys are the ones who are creating the content along with us. So, thank you to those of you who tuned in live, and for those listening in the future, just know you can always catch Q&A Thursdays on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time here on the Rag Company Podcast YouTube channel. So if that's what you're looking to do, you can catch us there. Otherwise, I just want you guys to hit like on this video on your way out. I want to say thank you to Jason for sitting in with us. Much appreciated. And for those of you who haven't subscribed yet, come on, guys. What are you doing? All you got to do is hit that button. Helps us out. And very, very last, please pay attention to the Rag Company's website for events and stuff like that coming up. Levi's always touting it. It's something you should definitely check out, and sign up for a newsletter so you don't miss out on any upcoming sales. You know what time of year it is. This is when they really start to show up. So get ready, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Have a great weekend.
See you guys.